as I begin recording. So, you confronted Mortithax, who was speaking to a familiar shadowed figure in a red mirror. Interrupting her conversation, you did battle, with Sayun making the killing blow with her arcane turret. You discovered her nascent clone in a tomb located within her lair and dispatched it. Angus gathered all of the soul stones you had all collected, and Angus combined them into one legendary soul stone. And he began to pull the soul from the body of Mortithax and into the soul stone itself. However, the figure in the mirror re-emerged, attempting to siphon the soul away from the stone, but Angus managed to tear the soul away from the figure's influence, and the mirror shattered. Victorious, Angus declared Mortholm belongs to the dwarves, not House Mortithax. From there you re-emerged back into the throne room, where the spirits of the 5 dwarf lords of Mortholm, Barandin, Aldor, Skag, Nalgrim, and Drung, revealed themselves, no longer bound to Mortithax's will. They revealed that it was the previous master of Mortholm, Bron Farrickson, who had broken his oath and broken his people away from the faith of the Dragonborn, the Awakened. And as such, these Dragonborn and their broodmother made war upon them and took over the Dwarfhold. However, as a result, he had shattered his oath to the Awakened, causing the spirits to be bound there. And in order to free them, they must fulfill an oath, and so they made an oath to Angus for them and their army, their host of the dead, to wipe away the Dragonborn invaders from Mortholm. And with that, they got to work. Meanwhile, you all took a moment to explore the council chambers attached to the throne room, where purportedly a number of council members may have fled to during the invasion of by House Mortithax. With the signet ring of Nogda Ashbite, Angus unlocked the way into the chamber, and you all discovered the remains of Bron Farrickson, the Blackened. You discovered upon him his journal and his rune hammer, and a commune ritual that had taken place here long ago. After some revelations from Bron's journal, it was revealed that Bron had attempted to safeguard his soul from the Morborg and the vengeful forces that sought to claim him after he had broken his oath to the Awakened, pledging his soul to the Tanzian death god Banzala, in exchange for the crystal tablet needed for outsiders to access the legendary lost city of Orikalos. You discovered a secret tunnel out of the council chamber, but seemed to lead out into the rest of the city of Mortholm, where the great spectral host of Mortholm and its dwarfen lords did battle against the occupying Dragonborn. Deathly black shadows creeping from walls, descending upon Dragonborn commoners fleeing for their lives, guards attempting to ferry panicking Dragonborn to exit tunnels, groups of black Dragonborn knights doing battle with raging ghostly berserker dwarfs, skeletons of dwarfs reassembling themselves to do battle. It was absolute chaos, and you all took this opportunity to charge through the city, and using that chaos as a distraction to escape. However, you're being followed by a strange figure in shadow, one that you had seen signs of during your prior rush from the Mortholm garrison to the secret tunnel to get to the throne room in the first place. You saw horns, long tail, a bow, long lithe limbs, shooting arrows at Dragonborn left and right. You saw one dragon lance and a riderless gloom beast engulfed by the undead host. Eventually you managed to escape, almost losing one of your scouts at the bridge. As you ascended the stairs of the temple, as I'm going to bring you back to... Here we go. So you ascend the stairs of the temple and exit out into the Morborg once more. There we go. Yeah. So you ascend the stairs, the temple, exit down to the Morbog, and a rumble seems to shake the earth. And you notice the entire temple itself has seemingly slumped at an angle, further into the boggy, corrosive marshes of the Blighted Swamp. Noxious burbling bubbles pop around the base of where this temple, among the cluster of three in total, has broken through to the surface. You hurriedly usher out the scouts one by one down the temple stairs to the solid earth, as the temple itself seems to sink about 5 feet suddenly before it just stops in place, and you all rush out. And the sudden jolt of the entire structure seems to fracture the temple's roof, causing it to crumble in your wake. But you all manage to narrowly escape being buried by the temple roof, and you safely make it to land as a cloud of debris and rubble plumes in your wake. And you all take a moment to catch your breath, adrenaline waning.
Oh, it's good to see Sky.
Out the sky.
Well, for what sky there is, currently you're still...
Hey, it's better than the low stone ceiling.
You're still in the Blighted Swamp, so you can see the enormous trees sort of choking whatever sky there is, but you can see kind of hints of the blithe, depressing grey sky.
Good to see
Considering what
clouds.
Bellum had to deal with, I think he's happy with this.
Fair.
I mean,
This is
fair.
fine.
It's good to be outside again. That's what we meant.
Yes,
Yeah.
outside is good. Alright, let's get the fuck out of here. I want to be as far away from here as possible.
Angus, as you to kind of take a moment, is that sort of cold fog that's ever present throughout the Morbog becomes colder to the touch, and that familiar chill fills the air to the point where you can see your breath, and the wind picks up. Angus, you feel a presence nearby. A number of figures emerge through the ruined ancient stone of the temple behind you as you're beginning to make your way off. 1, 3, 5 figures, the undead lords of Mortholm. As they emerge from beyond.
Oh.
Ooh. Boy. As they emerge from the... You kind of step forward a little bit. Do the sort of ceremonial hold up the hammer and then over the chest. You are free to rest or stay and guard your ancient homes.
Like rats, they flee into their holes away from this place.
As Aldor kind of speaks up.
Morthhole belongs to the dead once more.
Nalgrim kind of looks onto you all with a slight snarl. He looks angered, but the anger seems to be overcome by weariness and exhaustion.
You took from our tombs. Keep your trinkets. All we desire is rest.
I have but one request for you. As he gestures to the others and his sack as he holds up. I have your trinkets. I have your trophies. I wish to use them to reclaim this place for dwarfdom. May I?
They kind of all look to each other for a moment, and there's that silent conversation that none of you hear. That sort of vacant, wordless glare between each of them. And they all look towards you again, Angus. And Baron Din nods.
It'll all be so. Keep them.
He nods deeply in reverence. A not but a final one. Forgive my arrogance. But we are few, and from the injuries of battle we are frail. Will you not guard this place, not out of force, but out of request, respect, honor, and free will? Keep this place so that no new vermin may defile its halls. Keep it until I can get more of our kin to come and pick up the sacred practices, protect the sacred knowledge. Watch it of your own free will, and rest between your honorable bouts of defense. Will you rise the hero's occasion one last time, until the new generation is ready to step up and physically and spiritually take your place?
Again, that wordless glare between each of them.
I ask much.
Uldor speaks up again, and by this point you can gather Uldor among them seems to have the most station here. Or at least had the most station in life.
Very well. But we tire for now. We have fulfilled our oaths. Release us.
He looks to the ring. What must I do?
They kind of look to each other.
Speak the words. Call our oath fulfilled. So that we may rest. Until we are needed again.
Very well. Gnarlgrim Scourskull, Barudin Wraithborn, Uldor Blackspike, Throng Grimson, and Skag Stonedeep. You have fulfilled your oath and beyond honorably. It is to you have my thanks, my respect, and admiration.
At that,
Rest easy. Your oath is fulfilled.
at that,
It is so. And you raise the ring.
oh, you raise the ring, and for the first time you see relief across their grim skeletal faces. And they suddenly look less gaunt and more full of life than they'd ever been in death. The hang of a head, the crack of a long-lost smile, the heavy hanging of eyelids, and with an ever-present, echoing sigh, the Lords of Mortholm and presumably their host are blown away like dust caught in the cold wind. Thus, come to rest, at least for now, the dead spirits of Mortholm. And with that, Angus, you gain another part of your blessing.
Poggers. Big dab. Big McDabbies.
Big pog.
You gain Vengeful Oath. As a bonus action, you can strike your hammer in the air, binding a Vengeful Oath to one creature you can see within 60 feet of you. If that creature dies within 1 minute of using this feature, you regain hit points equal to your current level. This surpasses the Curse of the Cannibal King, if you will, without revealing too much. If the creature doesn't die within 1 minute, you take psychic damage equal to your level. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your spellcasting modifier. Equal to half your spellcasting modifier, regaining all uses after a long rest.
That's easy. Killing somebody in a minute is nothing.
You say that, but we have on occasion had fights that went beyond a minute.
Yeah, with multiple people. One person dying in a minute is very feasible. Especially if Angus calls the target out to us.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
So can I actually see that in text so
Yes,
I can better
1
understand
second.
it?
I'm sure Jenny's got a whole fancy feature written.
Temporarily, I will add it to your creator feature, your creative blessing. I'll give it because it's not part of Gundren's favour. This is an entirely different ancestor god that this comes from. I'll give it its own feature after the end.
Interesting.
Curious.
Out of character, does anyone remember where we parked?
Around the tree line.
Okay, good. It's been a while, so I figure I'd ask.
I think we covered them up.
Yeah, I think we hit them. Now to see if our boy Bastion is alive.
All right.
I'm sure he is.
I think he's a good boy. He's alive.
Okay, so you leave the sunken temples in your wake, making sure that the injured are following behind you. You kind of backtrack where you came, which is fairly easy to do thanks to Grunker. Grunker's ability never to get lost. And eventually, kind of trudging your way through the thickets of the blighted swamps, and you eventually do come to where you left Bastion and the steam hammer.
Hooray! Is Bastion okay?
So I'm just gonna stick you over to.
We haven't been gone that long.
Look, I worry for our boy. Okay.
At most, he'd probably be hungry.
Is this an ambient image? There we go.
One way to find out.
Is this an ambient image?
Yes.
DM.
Suddenly, everything crashes again.
Don't you dare jinx it.
Yeah, feel free to
Knock on
just drag yourself. Oh, fuck out loud. Don't want to do it. There you go.
Bop, bop, beep.
Bop, bing, bop, bam.
Babadoo, babading.
Bop, 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 bop.
So, you can see the familiar looking set of ruins where you hid them, and it's almost. However, you almost have to double take, and you almost miss it because of how now well camouflaged it appears to be. More so than when you left it.
foliage just been growing over it while we've been gone?
You can see it's covered mostly covered by sort of dead vines, leaves, moss. Though it doesn't appear to be grown.
Oh no.
So you're
Our
saying more
mysterious
was
friend
added?
has been.
It would seem so. In fact, Sao Yun and Deja, because of your passive perception and investigation, you can see it looks like it was grown, but not by natural means. From sort of the existing foliage surrounding the area, sort of just left for the Morbog to quickly decay, as is the nature of this place.
So wait, did it seem like the rot shit grew? Or did
it's-
something grow and then rapidly rot?
Something seemed to have grown the foliage into sort of like new fresh foliage, and the influence of the Morbog has just allowed it to rapidly decay.
Oh, okay.
Wes, can I see if there's any fresh fruit, footprints, hoof prints, whatever tracks?
I'll say, Liska, go ahead and make a survival check, because you're the one who's able to track a lot of this stuff. I'll say, Deja, you can probably help her in this as well.
Right.
Okay.
So you took
There's
that.
advantage.
Yep, 19.
There you go.
You can see kind of in places around where the new foliage is.
Oh, getting text, sorry.
Small hoof prints.
Huh.
And no, it's not Hurlburt this time.
Strange.
Hurlburt and his dainty hooves.
The gait of these hoof prints would suggest a medium creature, but they're smaller, daintier.
I'm just gonna call for Webby.
You hear this faint, familiar squeaks of Webby in response, and you can see crawling out of this what almost looks like now, as you kind of make your way around the ruins, almost like this sort of hollow hut, where the small ruins kind of lack any sort of rooftop. It's been completely grown, completely covered by newly grown foliage, and Webby sort of crawls his way out of this small hut, almost. And he rapidly kind of scrambles up your back, and you can feel his sort of front two mandibles sort of examining your head, making sure it's you.
Yep. Oh, okay. Yep. It's still me. Yep. It's still there. I hope. Yep. So, I see. Okay. Yeah, what was it? Who's been doing this? Because I mean, you didn't do it, right? No. So who did it? You know? Do you see him?
Webby
Janet, can I?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. No, continue.
Webby looks confused at you. He can't. You don't speak spider. You don't know.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Jenner, can I?
Shred, she said.
Can I determine whether or not, like, these are, like, demonic hooves? Like, if they're from, like...
If it's like a
Obviously not a
wildlife
mountain
thing, or
folk.
if it's like a demonoid.
Yeah. Because I imagine demon hooves kind of have their own specific kind of look. They're not just...
They're not mistakable for like a fucking.
I mean, they look
Like Bastion.
they look like cloven hoofs. They don't appear to be quadrupedal. there's definitely a sort of bipedal element to the kind of trail of hoof prints.
So the stance, like the walking pattern, is not. They're like. They don't have like the second really close one of like a quadrupedal animal. It's
Nope.
It has like a quote unquote normal walking gait.
Appears to be so, yes.
Okay.
And sort
Leaning
of,
into his question, is there like, I don't know, a genetic difference? Obviously you have like sizes and shit, but is there like a genetic difference between like the shapes of the hooves that an expert tracker would be able to tell if it's like, oh yes, this hoof shape with this point, where they point in, is demonoid, but right, you know, if they point out, then it's like, this is a mountain folk shape, or anything like that?
you can generally sort of tell that alone from the size of hoof prints. Mountain folk tend to have very, very large sort of cloven hoof prints. Imps, of course, don't leave hoof prints. They don't have hooves. They can fly. Demons, you've seen demon hoof prints before left by Hulbert. These ones are smaller.
Smaller, but with a larger medium gait.
Yes. Slight would be a better description.
Okay. Do they remind me any of Fatmia's?
Almost.
Okay.
Tiny.
Though not quite as small as Valmia's.
Liska's going to keep that in mind, and she's going to kind of look at all stuff like, well, whoever it is wanted to help hide at least, so they're friendly for now. And she's going to start tearing down the camouflage.
Yeah, you begin tearing it down, and you can see Bastion is kind of sat on a bed of green foliage that wasn't there before, and he's chewing what looks like a small patch of fresh hay from a woven basket. And
So he's eating a woven basket.
Just the entire row of the basket as well.
When the fresh batch is gone, he's like, oh, well, time for fiber.
yeah.
It's like the croutons of the salad.
And you can also see, as you're tearing down the foliage, stuck into the side of a wooden root that's sort of like woven its way into the inside of the ruins. You can see an arrow. Looped and tied around it is a large leaf. Remarkably green for all the sort of grey and black and sort of muted colours you can see around you.
Is there anything?
So wait, this hasn't magically decayed? Or
No.
magically has not decayed? Like, the Morbog didn't have its effect on this?
This is not magically decayed, no.
Is there any notion of magic going around with that shit? Because that's not normal.
Angus, that's surprisingly green for being here. I don't want to admit it, as he gestures towards all the other stuff. Sorry, fucking Liska noticed.
But yeah, Liska's just gonna kind of look at that. Where did you say the arrow was stuck in?
It's sort of stuck into the side of a sort of long dead wooden root that's sort of woven its way through the inside of the ruins nearby. You can grab it if you like.
Here. Alright, Liska will, she'll continue tearing shit down, but then she'll point out the arrow and just be like, hey, can someone grab that real quick? I think that there's something, a message from our friend.
Okay. The y'all will go get it.
All right.
And suddenly fireball.
Everyone dies. No.
Warning.
Yeah, you can see what looks like a large leaf kind of tied around it, almost like you would say a scroll.
Okay, I'm
That's
going
right,
to
son.
try and untie it to see if there's a message.
Alright. There is a message written on the leaf. appears to be written in sort of like thin charcoal. What languages do you speak?
I speak the Giant, Sylvan, Serpent Tongue, and Thiefkin.
Okay, you would not be able to understand this.
The range. Oh, yes. I do have a spell in order to possibly understand this, but I'm tired and I don't have the energy to cast it.
Alright, well, hand it here. I know a few, and I might know what it is.
We're gonna peek at it.
Yeah,
There you go.
Velm will like sort of like lower it so Krunker can peek.
What languages do both of you speak?
This is one thing I wish Foundry had along with Roll20. Because Roll20 had this where you could ping your languages.
Yeah.
You can't do it in Foundry for some reason.
Let's see.
Dwarven?
Let's see. Trade tongue, goblin, Ignan, primordial, terran, and undertongue.
I just pasted mine in party chat.
You would not be able to understand this, Grunker.
I wonder if it's demonic.
Yeah, I can't speak leaf. I can speak rock.
Vellum, you can understand this. This is this is demonic.
Love a bitch.
I love that Liska's just like, somebody get that, and then it's like reading it. She's the only other person who knows demonic.
You notice within the message there are these sort of long, blank spots between sentences.
But what does the sentence say with the gaps?
Let's see. You can see, or at least you can read the following. I have been watching you, followed by a long blank spot. I never thought my search for blank undeath would lead me to you. Another long blank spot. Her knowledge died with her. And another long blank spot. Tread lightly. Now something skulking is after you.
Oh, good.
Oh, great.
I reiterate verbatim to the rest of the group, though Velum is sort of peering at the gaps. Is there anything he can see that would seem off or weird about those gaps specifically?
You can.
This is gonna, after she takes, like, it shouldn't take that long to tear shit down.
Yeah.
So she's gonna walk over and, like, kind of give it a look too.
Well, the rest of it makes sense. It's not exactly the best news to have right now. There's like these weird bits though. Something seems off.
You also.
Nope, go on.
It's
I think this is gonna come over.
Sorry, I'm just checking my notes here. You also notice that the orientation of the lettering is in some sort of symbol, as if it's just been sort of written in this along the lines that create this symbol. Though you're not quite sure what it means. So the gaps in the writing seem to make it makes it seem as though this symbol is incomplete.
Okay, so like, just so I'm clear on this, the shape that the letters form is a symbol, but there's gaps in the symbol that would make it not a whole thing.
Yes, so you're not sure what the symbol is. There's definitely something more to this letter.
Somebody with a brain and some sleep behind him try and figure this out. And then he just sort of pinches the bridge of his nose and rubs his eyes as he hands the leaf off to anybody nearby.
You guys gotta take it back.
Like I said, can Liska, like, does the symbol have any familiarity with anything that Liska might know?
Go ahead and make me a religion check. Either a perception or a religion check.
Well, I have 0 in religion, so let's go perception.
What could possibly go wrong?
8.
I can roll low.
Again, it's
I apologize for jinxing.
you're very much unsure what this means.
Does anyone have any inspiration that they want to use?
Yes.
Oh, I mean,
Actually-
I guess technically I do, but I'll leave it to people with higher ability scores.
Let me check something.
I can read demonic. Do you want me to?
Then you would be able to understand this letter as well.
The irony here is Sal learned demonic by watching and observing Balthazar and Siren.
You could make a perception or religion check if you like as well.
You know what I'm gonna do.
22. It's strange that the more you look at it, the more it seems to make sense to you. And as you kind of angle the paper, or angle the leaf, it's an incomplete symbol of an owl.
Okay, this is odd. It's an owl. Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's a leaf.
No. I mean, the symbols, the incompleteness, it forms an owl.
Is there, Jenner, on? So you said there's just blank gaps between the words or the letters.
Yes, that would indicate that the message is incomplete.
Like, okay, well, just I don't know. Like, Liska shuffles in her bag for a bit, then pulls out like a little thing of charcoal, just like hands it to Sal, like completed. And she walks back to the caravan to continue getting
Thanks.
stuff ready.
With a 22 perception as well, you notice where the blank sections in the sentences are. There's this very, very faint shimmer. There's something there. But it needs to be revealed somehow.
The way it shimmers, can I tell if it's magic?
You can certainly make an Arcana check. (16). It's not a high DC, especially with your prior 22 perception check. That definitely lowered the DC a bit. This is indeed magical.
A little bit of a meta question here. Dejar,
Yeah.
do you know? Because it's obviously there's something hidden here, right? Does your
Best Sao you can
Character?
tell, yes.
yeah? Does your character know anything about secret messages?
You are dipped into row.
That's why I'm asking. I know it's only a level. I don't know if they have like something that they get later on, or what even
These
the
can't-
process is.
I was gonna just use the wand of magic detection I have.
That's
See if that
okay.
will do anything.
You can give that a try first. That would work. Try it. Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry for the meta question. I'm not
reveal the
really
rest of
involved in that, so I'm just trying to distract you.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna expend a wand of magic detection.
Alright. So as you wave the wand with a swish and flick, you you immediately see as your eyes go white, as your vision shifts towards the visible spectrum of magic. This leaf is peppered with various bits of illusion magic. Specifically, where those blank pieces of lack of text are.
Oh.
Does it reveal what kind? Well, no, it's illusion. Never
Yeah.
mind. I'm dumb as shit. So.
Yeah. Tis illusion magic.
Alright, that confirms it. Deshar,
Yes.
the letter is peppered with illusionary magic to hide some of the words.
That helps. However, hold on. If I get some rest, I can probably use a spell to we can read that. Right
No,
now, I am.
It's fine. It's more the fact that I'm probably gonna be writing out what it actually says in a moment, but it might be ciphered in, so.
Oh, okay. Now I see what you mean.
Alright. Now, give me like a minute. And I am going to use my last first level spell slot to cast Identify on it.
Oh.
God damn.
I'm assuming this is gonna basically tell me what is written.
Not quite, but it does tell you how to reveal the text. You would need
Fantastic.
bright light to reveal the text.
Nice.
Where will we find Bright?
Oh, jeez.
Did Sal voice this?
I'm still spending like a minute doing this. You can do
Oh
other
right,
stuff.
yeah, there's a minute of
Alright,
Right.
I
This has
deal
been
with
gone over
deal
as
with my
helping
parents.
Liska. Stepping out of the way while she orders people around.
Yep.
Sorry, Val.
we
Looks
got-
like your card's getting more crimped.
Yep, sure is. Yeah, they'll be healed and walking in no time. Are we do we know if we're making camp or heading out soon?
I would rather get as far away from here as possible.
Agreed.
But-
I just didn't know.
Also, what time is it? And let's get checks her watch.
You can see it is very much dark. It is probably getting into the evening now. You've been underground for pretty much the best part of, well, all day. You can probably afford
all
some.
day.
You can probably afford some travel before making camp before it gets pitch black.
More distance, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Let's get to getting for at least a little while longer.
Okay. So, as you all head out, making sure.
Before
Yep, go ahead.
we do that, as we are leaving, Sao is gonna be watchful of where everybody is and so forth as she takes out a small rod of sorts. And just as they're on the edge of leaving the ruins, she's gonna just sort of place it amongst some of the vegetation hidden.
Oh, okay, I see. And with that, you complete your quest.
Stealth roll.
Would you?
Stealth roll?
Yeah, you can make a sleight of hand
Okay.
check if you like. 10.
Man,
Let's see. What's everyone's passive perception?
More than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna burn the inspiration for it.
okay.
Yeah, you do you.
There you go.
So I don't hold Alt. I just click it again.
Yeah, just click it again. 25.
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
Ooh,
definitely
there you
well
go.
spent.
Yep. So
No, nobody. I don't think anybody can see that
as everyone makes their way away,
except for you.
you very, very, very stealthily, with very deft hands, take out the small rod.
I use my inspiration to cancel out his inspiration. I'm just kidding.
Fuck off.
I counter inspiration with inspiration.
You take you take this sort of ornate metal rod that you were previously given by Balthazar, and very gingerly and quickly sneak it underneath what looks like this cluster of complex dead tree roots, and no one is anyone the wiser. As you complete your quest, called a simple request.
I'm sure nothing bad will come of it whatsoever.
That's fine.
Not at all.
It's probably fine. What could go wrong?
I mean, I did have the idea of chucking it off the side of the bone bridge, but I was just like, that would be too mean-spirited for what Sao is.
So you just sort of popped it and just dropped it in some foliage.
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright.
Do we have individual requests or individual quests?
Check the log.
Yeah.
I know I can see Sao's on it.
Yeah, you should find an easy link in your character sheet under, I think it's
It's a
journal
character sheet.
journal quests. Just, scroll down.
Oh,
I made a button there for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have no quests.
Me neither.
Not yet. Not yet.
Don't worry, we've got plenty to do. We'll have things come up soon.
Okay. So, as you all make your way off, you begin travelling through the dead and dreary landscape of the blighted swamps, trying to backtrack from where you came, trying to find some semblance of solid road, solid, well-travelled path to potentially. Well, I don't know. What do you want to do? Find the hag, or try to try to get
Trying to find a place where we can rest, Jenner.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go
we can
looking for a
discuss
fight
our
right
plans
now.
for that.
Yeah.
Right now, we need to fucking sleep.
You begin to set up camp for the meantime after a couple of hours of travel, and I'm gonna bring you over to. Here we go, Moorbook campsite. It's been a while since we've used this.
It's been so long. Last time I was here, I was
The
knocked
last
out.
time we were here, yeah, it was kind of
We
scary.
just got kidnapped. Someone got kidnapped.
I can't imagine who.
Camp's a lot more
What kind
cramped
of
now,
chump
by the
would
way.
get kidnapped?
It's also been turned around. I think.
True.
Yeah, it has been turned around. The tent used to be at the top left.
Yeah.
Because you're still in the blighted swamps. This was the same camp map that I used while you guys are in the swamplands.
Really?
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah,
Absolutely
because I was
Pokears.
captured before the swamplands.
Mhm.
So as we're approaching our would-be camp spot, sorry, I was readjusting. And like the second anyone notices, anyone notes like this is where we're gonna camp. Kaplunk. Vellum face plants into the dirt.
Yep, there you go.
Just like no words, no nothing, just
Alright, I think it's time for him to go to sleep. And let's gonna walk over and flip him over so his face isn't in the dirt. And then Princess carry him to his cart.
severe
then-
coffee withdrawal. Sorry, potion of vitality.
Oh, you're good. And then, actually, she's gonna carry him to the tent because he does have a spot in the tent that he just never
He
uses.
has his own bed.
Yep.
He has his own comfortable
First time he
bed in a
used it,
very
he has no
defensible
agency
wagon.
over it.
And
Uh,
Angus put a lot of work into that, so you know he's gonna use it.
So yeah, she's gonna take him in and set him down in the tent because his cart is also full of people.
Yep. Full of injured people.
Yep. And then she'll set him down, walk back to his cart, motion to a few people who are inside the cart and probably still awake. You're like, hey, can you give those, like, that blanket and that pillow? And take it, and then she's gonna...
Okay.
And then
yeah,
she's
just
going
take it.
to grab it, walk back, and then put Vellum's, like, his cart pillow and his cart blanket over him while he's resting. So he still has, like,
The pillow over him. Just
smother him. It's like, it's okay. You've had a lot of stress. Go to sleep.
I'll sleep forever.
No, she's not Siren. But yeah, so she's gonna, like, set the pillow underneath his head and put the blanket over him. So even if
Very
it's
sweet gesture.
yeah, he can still smell his cart even if he's not in it. And then yeah, Liska's just going to kind of sit down beside him and very silently keep watch, like inside the tent.
All right. Let's see. Were you? Oh, you've already cast Identify on that leaf. Okay. Well, actually, because you're so close to the campfire, which is a source of bright light. You watch as you kind of hold it near, not over the flame lest it burn, but near the light. The shimmering blank sort of spots between the letters, the sentences gradually begin to reveal themselves as if revealed by shimmering starlight. And it seems to complete the shape of an owl. And I'll see. This would be what it says. I'll make sure I've got the correct language this time.
Random weird question. Can she speak demonic? Wait, no, yes. She just said she learned it from the... Never mind. Hi, I'm stupid.
There you go.
Find out this.
Oh.
Oh. I mean,
Good oaths or bad oaths?
I won't say oh because my character's not there and my character doesn't know it's being read.
I can't read it.
Because you cannot speak Draconic. Draconic? No, demonic.
Demonic,
I wonder if
not
that
draconic.
should have been a whisper. I have no idea. So.
As Sao
I'll
is
shut the fuck up.
is reading it, she is not speaking it out loud.
Okay, so
But then, as she sort of is reading it, she sort of gets up and looks around for a moment, realizing that Liska is in the tent, and she sort of walks over there.
where are you going?
One moment, I just need to confirm something. She opens the tent flap and just looks in. Liska, you had the nickname, right?
I have many.
Alright. Specifically one called Blue Dragon, yes?
Yeah, they called me that back in Torment. Why? How'd you know?
She just sort of holds up the note. You got mentioned by name.
Oh, was that note for me?
I believe so.
She holds out her hand.
And the note passes.
Since we're no longer in bright light, I imagine she doesn't see anything new.
Yeah, you can see
Pig check.
pretty much the same thing as was seen prior.
Maybe if you get close to the stove or something.
Look, it's a thing. I don't see anything different. What?
Sao just sort of pauses for a moment and just goes, "Oh, right. You'll need some bright light in order to read it better."
Oh. And then she's gonna pull out, being very conscious of Vellum being asleep beside her, she's gonna turn away from Vellum, like hide like the light from
Shield
him.
the light.
And then light up her, she has like an amber stone or something that provides bright light.
Everybody needs a friend like Liska.
And then she's going to kind of like do that, and I guess she's going to read the letter.
Mm-hmm.
And Sal could see her eyebrows kind of go up in surprise at the first part, and then she she gets very focused and concentrated, and she just kind of like nods, and then kind of nods again and her head like slightly tilts, and then she just like, okay, interesting.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
And as you're looking at the now complete letter, the shape of the owl reminds you of the owl spirit, Ottrig. Part of the very same pantheon that Bor the bear is part of.
Liska will look up to Sal and be like, is it okay if I keep this?
And by me, it seems addressed to you specifically.
Yeah, okay. I was just asking. And then she will kind of like, she starts to fold and then realizes like, oh shit, it's a leaf. She just very gently, just like very gently puts it in her bag.
With that, Sao will go back out of the tent.
And Liska will snuff the light. Then go back to just, general watch.
And then Sao will basically tell Angus that, the letter was addressed to Liska.
Oh, that's neat. Wait, what? As he kind of turns and quirks his head in an eyebrow.
Yeah,
sort of
I know.
raises up like,
I didn't think it would be her at first, but then I kept reading and everything it said basically addressed her in everything but name directly. But I am curious as to why it did address her by the name of Blue Dragon.
yeah, he just shrugs. I have not a clue. Do you think it's from the same lady that sent that fucking cat to us? You remember the cat?
That would not be her.
Oh.
The cat was carrying an actual letter, not a leaf. But, I could be wrong.
He furrows his brow in thought. I'm a wee
Also-
bit too tired
Yeah.
to try and piece this together, to be honest with you. Plus, if it's for her, I'm not sure it's my business, It's not nice to read other people's mail. There's this dwarven word called felony. It's a very grave thing. You never know what sort of secret letter there might be. Embarrassing indeed, as he wiggles his finger and stares into the fire.
Well, I didn't actually realize it was for her at the time, so...
I'm teasing.
But yes,
By the good gods. There's a few things I'd like to quickly go over before we start, our rotation. I think we have enough folks. I think it's fair to say we can leave Vellum out of the watch. Let's let the lad rest. He really, really deserves it. But I want to spend a little bit of time identifying the things that we got out of the Great Tombs.
Oh,
I was wondering if you might help me a wee bit.
I'd be happy to, because I am curious too. A lot of these are interesting.
Alright. So, these are the items that I found. And he's just gonna sort of lay them out. He's not gonna bother with the trading or anything. And just sort of, go through that. And for the ease of it, can we say that through spell slots and ritual casting, we're able to identify all of this before we have to go on the big watch?
Yeah, I don't see why not. There's no like impending time crunch to do so. Okay, let's see here. On your immediate person, the things that you've gathered, you kind of start with what looks like the hammer that you managed to get from Bron the Blackened, his remains, which appears to be this very ornately crafted, dark sort of runic hammer. The head itself, looks very similar to your own grudge thrower in that it takes the form of an anvil, but it less looks like it's meant for the act of bludgeoning someone to death with, and more particularly with the runes, looks like more like it's meant to cast some things. This is, let's see, let's identify that, shall we? This is the Rune Lord's Grim Hammer. And I will...
Oh, shite. I'll post it. Oh, okay.
There you go. So, +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls made of this magic weapon. You also gain a +3 bonus to any cleric spell cast through the hammer, and a +1 bonus to your spell save DC. It can also be used as a spell casting focus, and the hammer has 6 charges. It also regains 1d6 charges once per dusk. If you expend the last charge, it rolls a 20 on a 1, the hammer turns to dust and is destroyed. You can expend 1 charge as a bonus action to strike the hammer on a surface, creating one of the following runes. A creature cannot be affected by 2 of the same rune at the same time. So, those are Rune of Weal, Rune of Woe, Rune of Wrath? That the runes.
Do I get to do those now?
Yes, you do.
that's dope as shit.
Hold on.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. There we go.
Christmas is Dwarf Christmas.
Okay,
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, this is bonkered. But it is very specific with this restriction.
and funny enough, as you're kind of examining this with your identifier spell, kind of ritually casting it, there's something about this hammer. There's this sort of latent magic within it that suffuses the runes, almost as if it's sort of sleeping, awaiting a worthy hand. A secret incantation, lost rites, or some sort of secret forging technique to awaken it. Something about this weapon.
I'm gonna prepare legend lore.
Oh my god.
That's for the morning.
Are we gonna see Angus go bonkers?
Gonna go bonkers on some loot.
Also notice, as a cleric, you don't have many bonus actions to use, do you?
No.
Well, congratulations, now you do.
Hooray!
Oh shit, we're just gonna see Angus just
Those runes were
off.
The best part is this is really thematic because it's buffing. So, oh my god.
Not necessarily healing either. So you're not a heal bot.
You are the grudging hammer.
Okay, so next up is this strange-looking scythe almost. You can see it takes the form of this long, grim, gnarled branch with this almost sort of rusted-looking blade across the end. You discovered this in Nalgrim's tomb.
Yes.
This is a staff of plagues.
Oh.
I'll also stick that in the chat.
Death of Plagius the Wise.
Yes.
Staff of Plagues the Filthy. It's
So,
not the story you would have heard of.
It can be wielded as a
Conscript.
magic quarterstaff that grants a +2 bonus to physical attacks and damage rolls. While holding, you have a +1 bonus to spell attack rolls. As an action, you can point the staff at one creature you can see within 120 feet, roll a d4 to determine which plague the creature is infected with. Indicated on the table below, the creature must succeed a saving throw, or it's inflicted with a random plague. The creature can make an additional saves at the end of each turn. So there's a lot of text. Effectively, what you can do with this is bestow a plague on one creature. If that creature dies while under that plague, you can use a reaction to start spreading that plague to 2 other creatures. Again, so forth and so forth and so forth, so you can spread that plague really quickly.
A large debuff.
You use this in an area full of commoners.
Oh
Oh, they're
yeah,
gonna fucking die.
yeah.
They're gonna die.
Yeah.
He's gonna hold it, and he's gonna go over it briefly. And he's gonna look to Dejar. You're a capable necromancer. You have shown a lot of discretion in how you use your work, and you wield very nasty magic, but you do good things with it. So, this staff has some abilities. He's going to list them off as what you see in the text here. You're the only one I can think of that might be one I could trust and is aligned with this type of power. Would you like to wield this artifact of my people? Or
Maybe not.
do you feel you might be better served by attuning your foci otherwhere?
As gracious
Do you
as
want
that
the staff?
sounds,
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
you guys think for a moment. As gracious as that is right now, hold on to it for a moment. I want to hold up the cloak that she recently got from
Mhm.
Wraithborn's tomb. I want to attune myself to all 3 of these. For some reason, as soon as I touched the cloak, I felt something. I don't know what it is, but I want to put it all on.
Ah, yes. Have you taken the time to identify all of these?
Not yet. That's what I'm wanting to do right now. I can do it sorry.
Ritualistically?
Yes,
Common's
that's
very
what-
difficult, isn't it?
You have no idea.
Nobody likes trade tongue. The humanies.
I'm fine with Sylvan and Serpent Tongue. I'm fine with even Katesh, but Trade Tongue is just I trip up too much. Anyway, I
Shakes his
can
head.
identify it.
Oh. Very good. I will leave that to you then. I have but one request with those. When you are done with them, if you would return them to me, or should I fall? It's a big request, but would you return them to the temple by Mountain Home so they can continue to find the next generation? If it serves a purpose, I have no issue with you using them. I don't want to come across that way. It's just I would like to see them given back to the next generation of dwarves rather than sold for coin. If you need the coin, I will buy it off of you.
Yard does not want material wealth, though she likes the idea of it being handed off to the next generation.
Thank you. There is a sort of a nod and a sense of, relief and reverence in his tone of voice. Which is, thank you. Well, I'll leave you to yours as I get back to mine and ours, eh? As he nods back to Salyun. The offer stands, if you need it.
Thank you kindly.
Welcome back, whoever we lost.
All right. Would you like to identify the next item?
Yes.
All right.
Before I go on with that, is everybody okay with us identifying these things before we go further in the session? I don't necessarily want to take it a long time.
Yeah, good to get it out of the way. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
I'm fine with it.
Awesome.
All right.
So,
So,
do you want to identify the next one? No, I want to leave it a mystery.
so you take up what looks like this vicious-looking battle axe. It looks like it's meant to be wielded in two hands. This was recovered from Uldor's tomb.
The legendary fucking Eldritch fighter.
hmm You can see that this large-looking, jagged dwarfen rune across the blade. This is Uldor's ruined battle axe. This is a unique item. Let's see. I'll ping that in the chat as well. Oh, let's click.
The rolls from the
Yeah.
DM. Oh no.
So, you gain a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this axe. This axe has 6 charges and regains 1d6. Basically, I'll just summarise it. It's got 6 charges, and you can use 1 charge as a bonus action to effectively do like a sort of add a necrotic smite to your next attack within 1 minute. This is a rare item.
Now I see it's not even tuned, which is pretty cool.
Indeed. It deals an extra 2d6 necrotic damage if you activate that rune. And you got 6 charges of that. See, next one. Looks like this vicious looking plate helmet that you also recovered from Uldor's tomb. Let's see, this is a common item. This is a dread helm.
Classical.
It effectively makes your eyes glow red while you wear it.
Cool.
Let's see. Next up is the third and final object that you retrieved from Uldor's tomb. This would appear to be his shield. You can see a large, swirling, circular rune across this. What looks like this dark steel shield. This is not. This is an uncommon item. You do not need no attunement required. And let me in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, +1 bonus to AC. When your creature you can see hits you with a melee attack while wielding the shield, you can expend a reaction to activate the dark rune. Creature must succeed a Constitution saving throw, or take 2d6 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful save. So effectively, if a creature hits you with a melee attack while you wield the shield, you can use that reaction to sort of rebuke it with necrotic damage.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like you hit me, I'll hit you too.
I like that. Doesn't seem like there's a limit, but there is saves. Awesome.
Just your reaction, I believe. So you wouldn't get attacks of opportunity with it, unfortunately, if you're using that feature. Let's see, the armor that you got from Bronze Body. This sort of plate, this dark plate, what looks like this this mantle of black fur. You can see various powerful looking inlaid runes across the breastplate, and a number of black sort of ornamental black opals. This is effectively a +1 set of plate armor.
Ooh.
Nice.
It is a rare item, no attunement required. Let's see. Well, the second item that you got from Nalgrim's tomb, this what looks like this vial, but instead of some sort of cork that you would normally expect in like a potion or something, there is instead it is a solid, affixed lid that appears to have this nasty pointed kind of needle at the tip of it. Some sort of reliquary. It's let's see. Effectively, this functions as a what's it called? A bloodwell vial, but for spellcasters in general, not just limited to sorcerers. +2 bonus to spell attack rolls and saving throws.
Yeah.
Is impressive.
Oh God, I could. Ooh.
Does require attunement though.
Yeah, I'd expect so.
Let's see. The massive stone gauntlets that you acquired from Skag's tomb.
Already. This makes me think Liska might like that.
These are
Feast of Skag.
the fists of Skag. Yes. Effectively, it is a rare item. Sorry, a very rare item. Requires attunement. It is a unique item. These heavy dark steel gauntlets are cold to the touch, and when you attune to them, they become light in your grasp and weigh only 2 pounds. While you are attuned and wearing these gauntlets, you gain the following benefits. Your strength score is 19. Your unarmed attacks deal 1d8 bludgeoning damage, or you deal your normal unarmed attack, whichever is higher. There you go, in the chat there. You gain a burrowing speed of 5 feet, but can only burrow through unworked stone and earth. Attacks made with these gauntlets against objects and structures deal double damage. It also has spellcasting charges. Let's see, 4 charges. You can use Mold Earth at will. Earth Tremor, 1 charge. Maximilian's Earthen Grasp, 2 charges. Melt into Stone, 3 charges. And Stone Shape, 4 charges. And it regains 1d4 charges daily at dusk.
That's useful as fuck.
It is.
I might
but,
just hold on to those just for the burrowing and the ability to fucking do all the spells and shit.
The
mean,
herbs and
mold-
grasp is not there in the text, which is weird.
Oh shit! Probably because you haven't. I haven't revealed that spell to everyone. Let me just go ahead and do that real quick.
That might be it.
Mold Earth at will is really fucking useful.
Oh yes, it is.
Fist.
I cast Fist.
Oh, I have this spell on my spell in my spell book.
Well, there you go.
I mean, okay. One thing I could see with Angus and just Mold Earth is him running towards someone but not reaching them, and then just creating cover.
He already has Mold Earth.
Yeah,
Deal double damage
it's
to structures, just punching a wall down.
Yeah, I mean, Mold Earth is a cantrip, so.
I do not have Mold Earth.
Oh.
Didn't you try to Mold Earth Liska?
Stone Shape.
There you go.
Never mind.
Yeah, easy to mix up.
Okay, so I think last one that you have is the unidentified rune carving tools that you found in Drong's tomb.
Drong.
Come on, there we go. This is a rare item. you can use this tools as a normal set of basic Runecarver's tools. 6 charges. You can expend 3 charges and 1 hour carving dark runes into a pile of bones of a medium or smaller humanoid within 5 feet of you. The runes imbue the target with a foul mimicry of life, raising an undead creature. The target becomes a runed skeleton. So you can now create those runic skeletons.
That is absolutely awesome.
It also has spells. You can use a charge to cast Animate Dead. Speak with Dead 3 charges. Create Undead 6 charges. And if you expend all 6 charges, roll d20 on a 1. The tools become a mundane set of basic Runecarver's tools. On a 20, the tools regain 1d6 charges.
So for some reason, some of these things like Animate Dead won't link, and I can't even see what's supposed to be 6 charges.
That is
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Oh wait, hang on. Let's see if you can ping that to the chat there.
Drong.
There you go.
Drong.
Yeah. Okay then. Oh. Alright. While Agus is
Doing that,
checking
you
out.
wanna go through yours?
Yeah, I'm gonna want to do that. But before that, Yara's going to hand Angus a set of beads that she found.
Oh. What might these be?
Found some prayer beads. That's why they identified as last time. I don't know exactly what they're for. You might have a use for them, even though I'm. I was ready to be religious, but here. He's going, and I'm going to trade it to you. Give me a second.
Sure. Getting some sick prayer beads.
Oh, why did that come up on my screen?
Weird. Hold up. Let me.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, you probably selected the wrong Angren, Angus.
I think I did. There we go.
Oh, there you go. By the way, if anybody's interested in some of the things that I've said, let me know so I can find an in-character reason to bring it up.
A lot of it seems pretty dark.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, if Angus, I feel like Angus is like more thematically suited to a lot of these anyway.
Kinda, yeah. Trade closed. You closed and then it was cancelled.
Oh, hang on. Okay, hang on. Here we go. I'm just gonna send. I'm just fucking send it to Angus. There we go.
There you go.
Sorry.
Why are they all set in place? Why do they get smaller on my end? Why is the first one so big? What's this loop for? Are you sure these are prayer beads?
See what you're what?
Thanks, Avon.
You're welcome.
Oh God.
I mean, we all thought it. Let's be honest.
God damn it.
Technically, if you
I didn't
use
think about
them
it
the
at
way
all
they
until
are
you
intended,
said
they
it.
are prayer beads because you'll be shouting, "Oh God!"
Fucking damn it. Well, this is why I pay for my hubris. Yeah, back in character. Yeah, I think I found them in one of the guess that Warthax had in her hoard. I have no idea, honestly, what they're used for. So I wanted to give them to you as soon as possible, but
Oh, well, thank you.
no problem. And then she just slumps down, and with the cloak in her hand, she's going to ritually identify it.
All right.
The dagger.
Oh, the dagger. Okay.
The dagger first, then the cloak. Sorry.
This the dagger is Baron Din's dagger. This is a unique item, requires attunement. When you attack a creature with this magic weapon and roll a 20 on the attack roll, the target takes an extra 3d6 necrotic damage. Provided that target isn't a construct or an undead, you gain temporary hit points equal to the damage dealt.
Yeah. That's pretty nice. And now for that,
The cowl.
the cowl.
Alrighty. Ooh, it's not identified for some reason. 1 second. Here we go. Let's see. I'll delete that one and just drag it back in.
Okay.
Okay, this is the Wraith Circlet. So, while wearing this dark silver circlet in dim light or darkness, a smoky mantle of shadow covers your head like a dark hood. While covered in this way, you can move through creatures as if they were difficult terrain, regardless of their size, and you have advantage on dexterity stealth checks. If you end your turn in another creature's space, you are shunted to the last occupied space to the last unoccupied space you occupied, and take 1d10 force damage.
Okay, that's pretty lit. Now that he has the race, he has all the items. He hasn't attuned to him yet, but he has the ring and the race garb on. Was there any reaction so far that after having all three of them so far in our possession?
Let's see. So you're not attuned. Okay, nothing so far.
Okay then. You know what? I think we're in a relatively safe place. I'll put them on probably just before I sleep.
Okay, you're gonna attune to all of them.
Yeah, just before I go to sleep.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. Let's see. What else did you get in your expeditions into Mortholm? You got your. See, we've already identified all the stuff that Angus had. Jar, you had that unidentified dagger. You have the dagger of shadows, the mage claw that was on that Mortathax had. The wraith ring, the wraith garb, and now the wraith cowl, wraith circlet rather. You got the necklace of prayer beads. Grunker, you grabbed those 101 ruined aerolite orbs.
Sure did.
Let's see, Liska.
So many orbs.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I just forgot how ludicrous an amount that Grunker managed to hoard.
Yeah.
No, I got some of them fancy writing orbs, and it's just like, oh yeah, how many did you grab? It was a bit chaotic, so any that you managed to grab was good. I like 100.
This many. Turns back outside.
This many. He holds up 10 fingers and flashes that like 12 times.
No, just like empties it, but then it's so many he has to go to like the top of the wagon to get the height to empty it more.
Yeah.
I have 10 tanks and then 1 tank.
Alright.
Poor lad.
See, Liska had the staff that Karalath had. The Ring of Shielding, the Ring of Acid Resistance, the Ring of Grim Command, Wand of Magic Missiles, the Invisible Ink, Adamantine Keystone, that Potion of Unstable Erudition. I think you got 2 of those. Sayun has one as well. You got the Portable Hole, the Black Leather-bound Book, the Broken Phylactery, Scholars in the Shadows by Bataris Selatio, Planar Travels of a Shunned Visionary by Batari Celestia. Sakar, The Untold Story by Vailutra Ulvars. You also got 15 Ruined Erudite Orbs. Sayun got the Duskblade, 5 vials of Dragon Blood, 5 infused Jade Chunks, another potion of Unstable Erudition. You got that 15 Refined Erudite Dust, and 8 Common Erudite Dust. I think that's pretty much everything.
Yep.
Alright.
I also picked up like 130 different bottles.
Oh yeah.
Crook is loaded.
Nine alchemist supplies and an extra harvest kit.
So yeah, you don't need them anytime soon.
And parchments and an embalmed eye.
Got a
bunch
vial
of-
of that, the fetus juice.
Yeah, that's important.
Gross.
Bunch of like Teshi stuff.
Oh right. I have adamantine chains. The fuck?
Got a whole bunch of adamantine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have like adamantine idols, adamantine sabers.
But I put it in the fuck. Let me. Shit.
Scimitar. Sorry.
At some point before around tomorrow, I'm gonna have to put some of that stuff in the wagon.
We really need a better way to manage and store our various things.
Well,
guess
I mean,
yeah,
we've
no
got the
kidding.
storage on the wagon.
yeah, you've also
Yeah,
got the
that-
portable hull as well.
I'm referring to
Organization?
more than just that. I mean, generally speaking, going onward.
Okay.
Yeah, I think anything we're not urgently using or going to use anytime soon would be good to just throw on the wagon.
Speaking of going onward, I have a plot point to bring up, but I'd like to do it in the morning when Vellum/Sable can be a part of it. Are we all
Okay.
good to discuss that
Yeah,
once,
sure.
morning comes around?
I'm
We have
fine
so
with
many
that,
people here, I don't know if we need to worry about us having a watch.
Yeah, we got like so many people. Like even if they
Yeah.
all had like middling rolls, there's a lot of eyes around.
Yeah, you can see a number of scouts kind of posted here, and over here as well. They seem to be keeping watch for now, except with Dejar's private sanctum, it's fairly difficult to see what's going on kind of out in the woods. But what's going on in the immediate vicinity seems to be covered.
But I'm fine with that. I don't know if I think I think Valor should be awake in the morning. I don't know if like the extended time awake results in extended time asleep, but I haven't heard anything of that, so I'm going to assume I'll be up.
Okay. So, unless anyone wants to do anything before rest, we can go ahead and continue until the morning.
Before we do go rest, I do have a question in regards to everything we found, because it would be nice if we could have like a moment to divvy it out at some point, most likely after session.
Yeah.
But I do want to make it a point to mention it, because otherwise we'll forget.
Alright.
I will endeavor to remember.
Okay, so, as you all come to restfulness, as you all come to sleep for the evening, confident that those who are able-bodied and healthy enough to keep watch for the day, for the night, are able to do so. You gain a long rest.
Hooray! A couple of things. Okay, I'm gonna get the mechanical stuff out of the way. Janner,
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 sorrows and I just took a long rest.
Yes.
I need to make a roll, don't I?
So,
I've been
because
dreading this.
because I mean, you reached a pretty significant story milestone here, both for your character and everyone else's. I will say, because you now know that the source of your trauma has been vanquished. You gain. Actually, no. All of your sorrows are wiped clean. All of your minor
That's
sorrows.
very good. I didn't want to try and wiggle for that because I also wanted to see if I could get like multiple boons.
You don't.
They're completely useless because we're going into mainly narrative, but I
Yeah.
was curious if I would get them.
You don't.
But
you-
I'm happy with that. It means I don't have to risk any permanent fuckery.
no.
Well, more than the permanent fuckery I've already got.
No bonus. Sorry. No. What's the word? No resolve, but all of your sorrows are wiped clean.
Hooray! And now for the non-mechanical, mainly roleplay part. At some point during the long rest, there is going to be a scream from the tent.
Oh shit.
And is Liska just still copping her squat next to Velen, keeping a watch?
Yeah, until she like nods off.
Yeah, regardless of if she's awake or asleep, she'll be first to see Vellum just upright and just drenched in cold sweat. Eyes just wide like dinner plates, still bloodshot from, the lack of sleep. And looking outright just stunned and almost petrified from what seems like was a nightmare. Where am I?
You're in the tent. Did want to put you in the cart. It was full of injured people, but the tent seemed like a good place to put you. You
Let's
want
go.
to go back to the cart?
He's sort of looking about, just sort of. He's not focusing on anything with his eyes. He's just taking everything in, and then just sort of puts his hands on himself, sort of like feeling as if it's real. Right. Okay. It was. God, that was vivid.
Dreams tend to be, especially in this place.
I swear I could. She was on me, and I could feel her eyes pacing on me, and I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. And then just head in hands as his breathing slows down a little bit.
Hey, it's okay. And Liska's gonna put like a hand on his shoulders, like you're among friends now. She's dead. She cannot hurt you anymore. But we took care of her.
Right, you're right. I saw it all. It's just a dream. Just a dream.
You've seen and gone through a lot of very impactful things. So they're going to, just from personal experience, I will say that they will probably be with you for some time. Yeah, if you need to talk or do anything about it. Or if you just want to let time try to dull the pain, that is fine too.
Well, it's gonna be a long road, isn't it, Liska?
But even though you are not quite as long-lived, you tend to get over things a lot faster than those of my kind. I guess that is a benefit for you.
I think I'm gonna try to go back to sleep.
Okay.
And
I'll
then
be
with
here,
that,
okay?
he'll just sort of, almost like all his muscles just stop working. Back he goes.
This is gonna pull the covers back up again. Just go back to being beside him.
Tuck tuck.
Yep, tuck.
Hope that wasn't too disruptive. I felt it was kind of important, given this is the
No,
first
that's
time he's
perfect.
slept in a long time.
Return to rest for the night. Liska, you kind of ponder on that thought for a moment. It's easier for the smaller races, for the shorter-lived races to let go of trauma. The mountain folks are very long. They're very long-lived and have a very long memory. Do you remember back to your own trauma in the past? Kind of silently consider it before kind of returning to rest. So, gradually, what counts as morning here in the Morbog comes to you all.
I doubt I need to, but I should probably hit the button. Long rest. Yay.
Been underground for what feels like weeks, but in the matter of fact, it's only been a single day. It's Morbog tends to do that to many people, and it was difficult remembering what the surface looked like. But as the grey light of the morning kind of pierces through the canopies, what would you all like to do?
I'm finishing preparing a few spells, so go ahead and, I'll do my things later on.
Venom's gonna be the last one to get up anyway, so feel free to. Y'all go first.
Ikara's gonna get up as she normally do, but a little slower.
Mm-hmm. So I forgot to come back over to Dejah, my bad. So during the night, as you restlessly toss and turn in your sleep, Dejah, a cold, almost clammy sensation as you're currently wearing the Wraith garb. A chill grips your heart for a moment. Flashes of images. An open field. Rolling hills of what looks like wheats and grains. You're in a strange faraway land. Then you see it on the horizon, this small, looks like a small farmstead. And you see, tilling the field, it's a rather short and stocky individual. Weathered skin, looks like a dwarfin individual. The skin is almost coal black, not simply darker skinned, but almost like charcoal. And you can see the what looks like bright orange lights for the eyes. Some sort of deep dwarf, but here on the surface. And he seems to sense something over his shoulder. Looks directly into your eyes, though he's not staring at anything in particular. And you feel some sort of connection. And you jolt awake.
Okay. At that point, Jared's just gonna, as quietly and as stealthily as possible, leave the tent and just come to sit on one of these logs, staring outwards as she thinks about the vision she just had.
So you kind of stare out and kind of look over yourself. You are completely translucent. Not transparent, but you notice your tail is your arms, your forearms, your upper arms, your entire torso. You can see what looks like your own skeletal structure beneath this veil of billowing shadow.
He rubs the bridge of her nose or muzzle, as it were. Right. So I guess this is the effect of having all of them together. Huh. And as she looks over her arms and her body in general, the same as the arms, are the engravings elsewhere?
You can see
That she...
kind of all throughout the sort of chest cavity, the rib cage, the arms. Nothing below the waist though. You can see engravings. What languages do you speak again?
Hold up. Let me post it in the party chat.
We need to make
Right
like
there.
a feature that has these in, so we can just make
Yeah.
Trey Tongue, Giant, Katesh, Serpent Tongue, Sylvan, and Thieves' Cant.
Okay. These runes you don't quite understand.
Eyes of light, this is just one thing after another. Right. He's going to try and press her translucency. Just focusing her mind on that.
Pressing your translucency. You're trying to touch, are you?
No, it's suppressing it. Like
Oh,
he wants.
right. You kind of focus for a moment, and you feel this cold chill, like a cold breeze, whip around you for a moment, and the translucency seems to fade into scales, like they were before.
And then she tries to make that happen once more, become translucent again.
Again, that cold wind billows up around you, and I've completely forgotten the smoke effect name again. Dry ice. There we go. Like this sort of billowing black dry ice effect seems to flow from all around you, especially your arms, across your torso, across your back like a cape, and what's more, the translucency takes hold.
Okay, well, he's thinking this to herself. Okay, I'm getting the hang of this. And then she just wonders trying to press her hand through the log. It's like after getting off of it and just see if she can just move through it rather than just sit upon it.
You just double checking the
Circulate.
the mechanics here. You press your hand against the log. Nothing seems to give.
Okay. Alright. So, two things. And this is completely to yourself if no one else is around within earshot. I can control how I be and I can turn it off, but I can't move through objects. I need to ask Sao Yun about this later. In any case, she's gonna go back to the tent and see if anyone else is awake. By the time she did all this,
I will say, at this point, some people are starting to stir awake by now.
okay.
You see a number of the scouts that weren't on their watches are all just kind of coming to wakefulness.
He slithers into the tent so she doesn't spook them with her transparency.
Ooh, I am a ghost snake. How early in the morning is this?
This is fairly early in the morning.
Alright, Velen will still be asleep then.
Yeah.
Sao awake.
Is Sao awake?
Yeah, she would be. Granted, she's kind of groggy, but with what they've been through, yeah, it's to be expected. She is awake though.
The yard in the code just sounds like, don't be alarmed. Firstly, look at me.
Does Jar have her effect on?
Yeah, she has it on. That's
So
why she went to the tent.
for the first time, you see what looks like a spectral serpent kind of slithering up in your direction, cloaked by this billowing, like almost like partly translucent silk, like some sort of wraith-like entity.
For a brief second, Sao looks bewildered almost, and then she just sort of blinks a few times. Alright, now is not the time to pull pranks, Jar. Turn it off.
The yard is not pulling a prank. This is due to the race outfit that I've found and put on.
Jar, did
Yes.
you put on a full set of magical items without identifying them first?
No, I identified them all. Then I put them on.
Alright.
But I mean, I could do this, and she focuses and gains her solidity from being transparent.
Just as Jar returns to her familiar form.
You're gonna scare the ever-living daylight out of somebody.
Noted.
Alright.
And at that cue, Angus will wake up and come out of the tent with his morning coffee. Oh, what team is it? Holy shit!
Calm
And he
down,
immediately
Angus.
spills his morning coffee.
Does his mug say, "Don't talk to me until I've had my grudging"?
Something similar. I'm not allowed to say it on stream.
Sarah just turns, looks to Angus, just gestures for him, like it's okay. She's not possessed. Easy.
Go like this if I want to, or just with a thought and some concentration, I can suppress the effect of, well... Oh.
You
Might
look
be able to...
very different.
Yeah, you can see she's
Yeah.
she's wreathed and cloaked in this dark this sort of dark leather. These dark leathers and this long black shawl that sort of flows behind her without any wind to blow it.
Okay, two things. One, I would need someone to read what these runes are, because they make no sense to me. Two, well, after I put on the armor and went to sleep, I had a vision of a dwarf working amongst the fields, wheat or grain, and he looked like a dwarf, but he wasn't a dwarf. Charcoal skin, orange eyes. Sounds familiar. This guy does not know any individual like that. I haven't seen even any dwarf like that before, so she's confused.
Might I give a suggestion? You're
Yes.
wearing an ancient set of dwarven-made armor. Are you following?
I am following, but it did not seem like the past. It seemed like someone. It was in the present. Like,
It might be a connection.
Can you describe the region that you saw?
Tanner, did I, besides the farm and the wheat, did any other landmark or landmass I could pinpoint out that can give
You
me
can-
some grounding?
Either make a history or a perception check. Yeah, like what's the term for when a retroactive history or perception check.
I'll do history.
24. Let's see here. Another 17 as well. I will say, the region looks fairly similar to what you might find in the Commonwealth. Very much sort of rolling hills, these large swathes of countryside, particularly Cartha.
Right. It was a rolling field of wheat and a farmstead. Carson Commonwealth. That seems to be the region that comes to mind.
Okay. So, was it like an out-of-body experience where you were this dwarf? Watching
No.
yourself work, or did it feel more like a divination or scrying?
More like scrying. And Willard or Steele, he was looking at me.
Oh.
like there was some type of, like Salyun said, a connection where he knew where I was when I was looking at him. And he looked me directly in the eyes, but like he didn't see me. Like he sensed me.
Sal just looks
You know
to
what my
Angus.
bet is?
Sal looks to Angus
That's
and
the
just goes,
Wraithborn raiment. Hey,
might be a descendant?
that's my thought. You see, that is a set that is bound by a bloodline, hey? But if there's any surviving ones, you know, they wouldn't be here because they're all dead. It would be some kin that was in, you know, the Undercity of Dune Hollow, down there in, you know, past the mines, where all those refugees came from, and they went over to Kartha. He's probably over there as a field worker, and you probably just activated his spiritual connection. He's probably feeling the same pull to the armor you're wearing as you had to the armor to put the rest on, if there's anything like that, right? The armor, the spirit of the armor is a real thing. That's how these sort of lineage items work. It's a bond, you know? It's almost like it has its own soul. That's a little fragment of each one that comes before it. Put them all together, it's almost like it's awake. Right?
So an ancestral
Yes.
connection. Okay.
Pretty much. Right? And now it's trying to find the right blood. Right? And maybe he's had that calling to the thing and he didn't realize what it was. Sort of like if you've ever had that weird feeling that you should be somewhere or doing something, or something is missing and you kind of want to go find it. It's a very similar feeling. It's almost like an omnipresent deja vu, if that kind of makes sense.
That actually does make sense. Because I felt that when I was in... She rubs her head for a minute, like she's trying to grasp a memory, but it's just foggy, just out of her reach. It's there. I want to say it, but it's just out of... I can't grasp it. It's probably nothing.
That's a part of you, but maybe that's a part that you is best left to recall when your mind is ready. Forcing memories only makes them go further away. It's best left for those things to sneak up on the waking mind rather than the waking mind, rather than digging deep into its slumber. Otherwise it only go further back into the dark recesses. Speaking of waking, we should get the rest up.
True. Want me to talk to you a little later about curses, because there's something I need to talk to you about.
Well, yes, of course, we can talk about that later on. In the meantime, I'm gonna go get the others.
Very well.
And with that, he's gonna wake up the rest of the party. Because
right.
everyone else needs to be involved in playing too.
And while he's doing that, Sao is gonna briefly check on Bastion, because we didn't leave him out for like a full fucking day. He might have been fed, but still.
It might be a zombie or a dragonborn in disguise.
God, it's a fucking dragonborn in disguise.
Suddenly, Mortifax bursts out of. It's like, haha! You thought you killed me. I had my clone inside this ram this entire time.
I mean, you can make an animal handling or a perception check or an insight check. Your choice.
It makes more sense to use animal handling.
13.
It's decent.
Yeah, he looks okay. He seems happier now that he's actually gotten some fresh food in him,
Yeah, I can
rather
agree with
than
that.
like just dead grasses that you've been finding everywhere here.
Yeah. Actually, do we have any kind of, I don't want to say grooming equipment per se, but anything to take care of Bastion? Because I'm pretty sure he's sweating like a motherfucker.
I don't know. What is the kind of standard temperature of the Morbog?
It's fairly clammy and chilly. Not as cold as like the Orthrost, which is where these giant rounds are native to.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's probably feeling kind of sticky either way. I'll fix some tools up later for that.
All right.
So yeah, Liska's gonna like nudge Vellum awake. Be like, Vellum,
What?
we need to wake up.
Already? Yeah,
Meanwhile,
alright.
Angus just in the tent. He's like, oh, perfect. Just on time.
I'm up. Oh god, everything feels hollow. He's just sort of like, it's like, you know, one of those can't quite get up. It's like the old man getting out of a chair kind of deal. Like, he's just, there's a wiggle, there's a pull, just like, oh. But he does get up on his feet eventually. Alright, what's going on?
I'm assuming breakfast.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah. I have not had actual food in a while. He'll just hobble his way out. The occasional grimace as some of his wounds are just like, because he literally just threw on armor over his rags and then fell asleep in them. So he's still favoring the odd bit here and there.
As all the other gatekeeper scouts, they begin to rouse from slumber as well. So what's everyone doing?
Gathering for brekkie face.
All right. Easy enough to prepare for Angus. Also, Angus, you need to do your long rest. You're still on, like.
I adjusted
you
it
did.
back. I did do my
right.
rest, Jeremy.
Yes.
Yup. Yup. So Angus is gonna go ahead and start making breakfast for, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5.
A lot of people.
6, 7, 8, 9,
Much.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Plus party and friend. He's gonna have to make a lot of breakfast.
Oh yeah.
So he's gonna actually sort of start leaving that to Stu. Maybe
Who's
that's
Stu?
something he would have set up in the morning. But there's one thing he has to do. And it's not great.
You kind
I'm
of
gonna turn to the rest of the party. I have to take care of Blacksmith.
Now just gives him a look and just, if you need to go to do something private, just go.
It's
Unless
not
you need a
necessarily
hand.
private, but I have to try and bring a body back.
Sal blinks for a few seconds and just, alright. if you need a hand, you'll get some help, but
Like, wait, what? You said you have to take care of something and then you're bringing a body back. What did you first say?
Rasmith is the name of the dwarf I accidentally killed with one of my spells. And it's fair to give him another chance, and I promised his brother that I would at least try. So, from at this point his standard just around the camp clothes, he's not in his big armor. You know, maybe from his chef's apron in a pocket, he will pull out a rather medium-sized diamond, a palmish size. I have to go do a spell.
You try to bring him back from the dead.
As
Alright.
not a monster, but the real person, yes.
I'm coming along to make sure that everything goes okay.
I was going to ask, it should be fine, but the Morbog is weird. It's not the same type of magic as, like, animating and creating undead. This is very different, but who knows, you know? So I wouldn't mind if people could be a little watchful and vigilant. We've got lots of friends, but, you know, I have no idea what will happen, to be completely honest with you, and it would be reassuring if I could just have your vigilance.
Wait, you're going to do it now? That's dumb. Why do it now? Wait until we're out of the Morbog.
Because I promised him I would. And the
So-
longer it goes, sometimes the harder it gets to animate the body.
But I've seen and heard of clerics doing that thing where, like, they preserve their bodies, so it's easier.
I've done that, but I am worried about the Morbog doing something unusual. And if nothing else, the lad wants his brother. I promised him I'd try and bring him back as soon as possible.
Well, just tell it that as soon as possible is when you're out of the influence of the Morbog. Why are you being so dumb about this right now? Is this a dwarven thing?
No,
You promised you would do it as
Murder the
quick.
man.
Yes, I noticed. I was there when it happened. But do you want to possibly raise him and then have to kill him because something went wrong, or perhaps go out of the sphere of influence of the Morbog and raise him without having to worry? I'm sure he'll be able to come to terms with his brother being dead for a week or so longer if it means he'll get him back unmolested and unchanged. I mean, if you want to do it now, fine. I will kill his brother again if anything happens. That way, I won't have to worry about raising him back from the dead because I can't.
You're right. No, You're right. I'll go have a talk with him. I'll explain. That's much smarter.
You're feeling guilty. I understand. People do a lot of things because of guilt.
I'll go do that. When I get back, speaking on the subject of guilt and the guilt of the dead, I have a notebook that I got from good old Prawn in his tomb back there, and it's got a lot of information, including that man in the mirror in the Herald. I really feel we should all read it, not just me. So, if I can, I'd like to read it out to you once we have a moment, so we can kind of literally be on the same page as we go forward.
Works for me.
I'm all for it.
Alright, very good. And with that, he's going to have a brief discussion with, God, I forget his fucking name.
Thurgle.
Thurgle.
I was muted.
Oh, does it not come up when you hover over? Because he did say his name. So let me just go ahead and...
It does not come up.
Okay, try now. There you go.
There it is. I think I have it somewhere in one of my notes, but I've in a couple of different note sheets. Thurgle, there we go. So he's gonna go, he's gonna have a very brief, to keep things, so everybody can play and keep it going. Very brief conversation with them, hat off, sort of humble thing, sort of, explain sort of through and, everything, offer a flask to him and stuff like that. Sort of do things as respectfully and peacefully and humbles himself as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
To it.
He gives you this sort of stern look. You kind of get the sense that he could be angry and disappointed with you, but you did save them all from remaining in captivity, and you did destroy Mortifex. So he is thankful for that. He kind of says, I can wait a bit longer, as long as you keep to your oath.
Well, you know what? He'll give him the diamond. I promise I will, as I have before. And I would be a right fool to just give something like this and run away. This is... well, it's a little hard for me to forge another coin at the moment, but this is what I need. If you keep this, and I'll trust that to you, you can trust me. Now there's a symbolism of hopefully earning your trust. It might be for the best. I made a mistake that cost him because I wasn't aware, but I'm aware of the circumstances with this, and I don't want to rush into something and have him pay the price again because of my haste. Again. I want to do it right this time.
Aye, smart move. Very well.
To be honest, I was so eager to do it, I was gonna try this morning, but... well, the big one talked more sense into me. I've never had something like this happen before, and... well... I want to make it right. So. That said, I made an extra portion of the meaty stew, thinking I might, need to feed a few more. So if you want seconds, please help yourself. You are absolutely welcome at my table.
Kind of gives a grim nod for a moment. You gather he's acknowledged that this has been a very grave accident that's caused his brother to lose his life, and while he certainly still blames you for it, he feels he can't be angry because you're taking full responsibility for it and actively working to rectify your mistake.
Just the brief explanation and the reminder of gentle oppose and how it works and how basically anything short of a divine intervention cannot defile him. And things of that nature. So, just any little reassurances that, why yes, staying in the bog any longer will not be a problem, and that everything will be okay, and yada yada yada, and get that little side character thing settled. That said, once that's resolved, he'll go back to the party and assume that everybody's had breakfast or has it and is ready. And at that point, a little ready check who's ready to go forward with the plot point Angus has.
I'm good to go with the plot point. Velo is, if there are seconds, Velo will be having them, but he's definitely eating heartily.
I'm ready as well.
Liska is going to, at some point in time during the morning, is going to... Does Dajar have the earring?
Yes, he would.
Okay. Liska is going to, through the earring to Dajar, say, like, can you, like, wait a couple of minutes and then meet me at the northwestern side of the camp behind the cart?
The yard responds, sure.
And then Liska will, like, finish her third, fourth helpings.
Yep.
She eats a lot. And then
She's a big girl.
she's going to wander, like, kind of up, make it look like she's checking. Of course, there's a fucking wall. Just put me through the goddamn cart. Jesus Christ. Fuck this game.
Hang on. Let me fucking. There you go. Oh no, off the map.
We should be free to go wherever we want. Walls be damned.
Anyway, so yeah, she's gonna kind of be up off to the side, and then she's going to kind of get through the motions of. She's gonna make it look like she's doing her daily, like, motions and whatnot while she waits for Dajar.
The yard's gonna be lagging just quite a bit behind. Look out like he's taking out her spell book and flipping through the pages to remember a few spells while slithering around, and then makes her way to where Liska is.
So yeah, Liska's not going to stop doing her, like, question, or, like, I guess isn't going to do her. She's not going to stop doing her forms per se, but through the earring, she will still just in the singular to Dajar be like, it's like, I was wanting to ask if there's something that I've noticed since I really kind of started doing things outside of Torment, that there's a lot of powerful magics that tend to target the mind. And I was wondering if there was perhaps, like, something you can do, or something that you know of that would, like, strengthen my resistance to that. Like some meditation or something that would allow me to be more resilient or resistant to the kind of magics that make me attack my friends.
Yard is quiet for a moment and closes her spell book before responding. I do know of some meditative techniques that may help, and also a spell to get your mind to accommodate in fortifying its defenses against mental attacks.
While I appreciate the offering of a spell,
No, it's what I mean is, in a sense that if we do meditative techniques and I use this spell, your mind will.
I don't want
No.
spells involved. Like, you're a wizard.
Oh.
Like, they have to teach you how to do this sort of thing at, like, wizard school or something, right? Just like they teach, like, learn how to be quick on your feet, or, like, overcome, like, a charging at you. Like, do you have, like,
Yes.
some meditations or something like that?
Yes, there's that way, or a more direct approach is You may not like it.
Then
It
what is the first way then?
the first way is
I want
that
something that will like carry me through even if I have like no magic or there's nothing around me. Like just help me strengthen my mind. I don't want spells or anything like that. Just give me a means of training. You don't get taken over by enemies by magic all the time. Like how do you like you were trained to resist it, yes?
yes, I was trained to resist any attempts on my mind.
Then train like just give me something that would allow me to train myself. That is all I am asking.
Okay.
Now,
Go ahead.
Jai, you do know of a few breathing techniques that tend to initiate wizards tend to spend their formative years sort of honing the mind in preparation to sort of both as a means of mental acuity to sort of study the necessary spells that require a honed mind to do so. You know, namely things that require, say, concentration spells. And you know, of course, there are a few spells which do help fortify the mind, but you know, as this is said, if you aren't around, that might not be of much help. But yes, you do recall a few sort of meditation exercises that may be able to help her.
Okay. We're gonna start with one. To fortify the mind is thinking of the mind as a fortress.
I can do that.
Start with the foundation. What is the memory that you can say you have a very strong foundation in? Start with that.
He like kind of pauses for a moment in her like forms, like sets the point of the sword on the ground and just kind of like looks up and thinks. It's like, okay, I have just like any memory. Like, what do you mean that I have like a good?
The strongest memory that you have, that has to be the foundation first.
So
We
like
start at the
lifting a rock or something, or like what do you mean?
Okay. To put it simply,
She's not intelligent.
no, this is fine. This is good. Think of it like he's quiet for a moment. Like how you stand in defense, something like that. But instead, that's the foundation. The memory is how you stand to defend against the attack. That. Like a vivid memory, something that you can hold on to no matter what.
Like a memory of myself.
Of yourself or someone that you can cherish. A good memory.
Okay, I can. She like pauses for a moment, like, all right. Okay, now what do I do?
Now, you start building up the walls from that foundation. Think it be like your first day of training, or maybe a victory. Anything that can start off from that. And that's to be the first walls you build up. And then you continuously start doing that You do that with your breathing. Start deep from the stomach, hold it, and release. That's how you start building the layers of your defense.
Okay. And she just kind of like she's very good at breathing exercises. Like she's very good at maintaining her breath. So like she's good on that, but like she kind of frowns, like closes her eyes, frowns a bit, and then like she's breathing's like, okay.
Okay, you know what?
Okay.
Take your stance like you're fighting.
And she drops back into her forms. It's like, okay.
Now, that foundation memory, then remember when you saw the magic? Like when you used that detect one spell.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
That was interesting.
Now, when you want to build the walls, feel the energy around you. Feel it pull into you, into your mind, to create a shield that nothing can break. That's why you must have a very strong foundation, so the shield is just as strong as the foundation. And the more you do it, now you're getting it. And then you start from the breath, from your hoof, and feel the energy go from there through your stomach and into your mind, and focus on that.
Okay. Alright.
If you feel
I'll give this some thought and try to build my defenses. And she's just kind of like awkwardly just kind of frozen in like midway through one of her forms, and then she just like kind of realizes that she hasn't been moving for a few seconds, and then she's just like, okay. Like, yes. And then like out loud instead of over the ear, she's like, yes, I would, if you do need any help moving things, I am here to help. Anytime you need it, Dejar.
Not problem, she says throughout the earring. But outwardly she's covering her mouth with what appears to be the first emotions of happiness that she's shown in quite some time while throughout the small ball.
And Liska kind of awkwardly starts up her forms again.
He says this through the earring just to her. It'll be awkward for a time, trust me. Once you get the hang of it, it'll be almost like how you lift a shield. I've seen you do it so many times. Almost like second nature, yes?
Yes.
You need any more tips? Just ask.
And you as well.
All right. So, after a moment, as Angus puts his stew on for the morning. Let's see, Dejar, are you both returning to camp?
Liska's gonna continue through.
Okay.
Like, she's gonna continue through her forms for a bit longer, and then she'll eventually return to camp. Yeah.
Okay.
The yard is going to be lagging behind just a little bit. just sitting there with a card journal, thinking about generations and what is there to leave behind for them when he passes, if that time ever comes. If he got close to death, at least throughout this fight 3 times, but if you want to count in total 4 times since the since their test. So he has a lot to think about.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's all trauma.
Heavy trauma.
Well done. Angus will welcome her back. Oh! I see. Is Aliska done helping you move the whatever it is?
Yes.
That'll be. It's fine. That'll be later. Like there's nothing really to move right now. That's true. There's nothing really to move right now.
Aliska has never lied to Angus. He does not have a reason to even question her deception. He is not going to try and check. That said, moving forward, he's going to take out a journal. He is very carefully handling this journal. In fact, it even seems a way if there is a slight breeze, his back is turned towards it, so his body is shielding the journal from it. You know, he's carefully, meticulously moving this.
Yeah, it's heavily damaged from mold, mildew, and moisture. It looks like it could fall apart in his hands.
I've been taking a wee bit of time, and I've been trying to use mending on it, bit by bit, to carefully sort of restore it. But it's still fragile, so forgive me. I'll handle it and read it out loud. Also, it's in Dwarven, so I'll try my best to translate. So, this is the journal that we found on the body of Braun. The guy on the big throne behind the anvil in that room, had some very useful information. And I think you would like to hear about it. So, with that, is that alright if I go ahead and read the journal out loud to you?
Are you okay with everybody else? And this kind of motions to all the scouts that are around them?
He's speaking sort of in a hushed tone, just to those by the fireplace. So he's not necessarily being super deceptive, but it is definitely a quiet tone. Whatever it is seems to be enough on his mind that he forgot about the earring.
If Yara's going to speak over the earring, wouldn't it be best to talk about this in the tent? If you're so worried about it?
And Liska's gonna chime in, like, for the earrings.
His eyebrows quirk up, and it's just that expression of, oh, on his face. Yes. It was enough on me mind that I didn't even think about that. As he says that through the earring. Should we step inside then?
We can do both.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
At which point he gathers around the table.
Let me in. Let me in.
Let me in. Right. So, is everyone there?
I think we're missing the Grunka.
Do we have a handout that we can give, or will it not click and translate?
Not unless those who can view it can speak Dwarven.
Understandable.
I mean, if you like, I could go ahead and read it.
I have no problem. I was gonna read it out. I just didn't know if there was a
Okay.
English version for folks to be able to read along. In fact, you know what I can do? I
Copy
am
and paste.
gonna copy and paste.
Yep, there you go. I don't think copy paste actually works with Johnny. So, I may have to be the one to do that because you need to edit it in order to copy paste. It's weird like that.
Well,
So I can let me go ahead and open up that
How
time
can I
machine
not
journal.
copy and paste?
Yeah, I don't know why.
No, I can copy paste. It's the lines in between that disrupt.
Oh,
But if I do this and just do it chunk by chunk, I can. Sorry, folks, I didn't realize that.
oh right, you posting the screenshots in the party chat. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put the actual text. Oh, I can't send all of it because it is too thick.
Thick law.
Jesus. Is this, or not that I'm
Mhm.
against like lore and info dump, but is this gonna be very conducive to a recording, like a stream? Like, do we want
No.
to pause the recording and have us all read this length of text and then like start it up again, or is there just gonna be 10 something minutes of silence?
Yeah. Probably.
I was gonna read it out and put the text in chat for people who want to read
Mm.
it. Out.
Okay,
Is that okay?
that's fine. It's just again. Well,
the
my
recording.
thing is
Hmm?
well, that, but also if it's long enough that it's gonna take up more than one post in Discord, that's
Yep.
you reading. That's just you reading for 10 something minutes. Like, here bullet points?
Do we want to pause
maybe?
the recording?
Is there like bullet points, and then you can give us like the text so we can read it at our leisure later, but you give the gist of like what's in there?
Yes. So bullet points. This goes all the way back to the new calendar year of 190. Janner, can you refresh me? What year are we on right now?
You are on the let's see, year
552.
Yeah, 552. New calendar 552.
It's almost 400 years old. So bullet point. This guy is supernaturally long. There are several mentions of his wife Yara, who is ill. Ultimately, it seems to be that it's from some powerful curse. So he has decided to work with what's his name?
Maribs?
Maribs. Yes, he's trying to work with Maribs.
Umbris.
That's what I said.
Yeah, Maribs. He's working with the Grave Father, which we know to be as the first Lich. I just forgot his real name.
Valdis.
Valdis the First Lich. So he's working with him. There's also a lot of mentions of the Herald, and the Herald being the man in the mirror. There's mentions of the Puppet King as Nogdor, and mentions of the Plan. There's several instances of the Scion and the Key. He sometimes referred to the Scion as the Egg, which seems to be Vadima's egg. So he talks a lot about the journey of the Moorbog, going through the Iron's Gate, rebuilding things and people being lost to the bog, all that kind of stuff. And even that they had the discovery of the ruins as their prayers answered. Seems they are related to the ruins in the church we first found. There's a lot of things about how the temple is actually one of the first necropolises built by Kusada, which is the first guy who did any of the dark shamanism and all the black books. So, it's one of those old sites. He also discovered a lot of nasty forging techniques that he's not going to go into. He made a deal with one of the covens of hags, granting him a knowledge of extended life even further through necromancy. He's going over crazy things, super desperate for his wife, trying to find a cure for this. Again, bargain to give the coven the egg in exchange after a number of decades. And he tries to make a false one for it, so that hag lady seems to be related to that coven here. He goes into some of his philosophies and unjust systems and everything like that about the cycle and death and how he's trying to subvert it and basically go lichdom himself, and even tries to make phylacteries. Doesn't quite work. It seems a lot of his knowledge is what was the foundation for what Mortifax used. Perpetrators injustice. Sorry about that. So, a lot of crazy things in those regards. I've been told to read a lot of the quotes. Like some of the things, was a good quote. Why should we have to live a life of suffering only to have our afterlives chosen for us? We are born into a momentary flicker of suffering only to die and hurtle towards a predestined eternity. So he's pretty upset that life is so shit, and that everything, you have no fate, you know. Later describes more entries with frustration, attempts by diamond-scaled dragon men to steal away the egg, Thaudimus shit, and the key, which is the tablet. They become bolder over many decades, and they find ways to hold them at bay, and private sanctums, even away from their prying eyes. He goes even more desperate for his wife. Madness begins to set in. He is getting more and more desperate, trying to build a phylactery for her soul to avoid that from happening. The Grave Father, Valdis, that he was working with, has promised the gift of undeath, but it seems it never really happened. He's trying to use the key, or the egg, and the tablet to try and combine those things, because it seems to have a purifying effect. More work with the hags as catalysts for things. It can absorb and purify magic with the egg. Only the Infinis Malleus, the Book of Curses and Diseases, have the power to remove the curse that was put on his wife. So even the egg that is that powerful can't do certain things, despite being a crazy powerful artifact. Quoted as, "I threw that useless thing into the chasm below. Maybe the damned key, crystal tablet, can provide me with results. Yara tells me she's ready to pass through the gate, but she underestimates the power gifted me by the Lord Whispers, aka Valdis." A few more blank pages before he says, "The Herald came to me in the mirror. He knows what I have done. Mora betrayed me." Mora, the Dwarven god of death and shit, or life shit.
Not quite. Mother.
No,
Mora.
no. That's it. That's Moira. Mora was fucking the hag, right?
You learned that Mother Mora was the hag.
Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of somebody else. The hag has betrayed him. She took Yara. The Herald tears through the veil at will, and little can stop him. In the next couple of days, he gets remorseful as if he understands his own deeds. He's so upset that he wasn't able to save his wife, but takes knowledge in other ways to safeguard one's souls. It goes on, "All my life was blinded by ambition. When I sold my soul to greater powers than I to save my Yara, his wife, I was a man driven by desperation. I damned myself and my own kin. I believed the Grave Father would grant me the power to save my loved ones, but instead it destroyed my relations with them instead. I was so scared of losing those close to me that it became a selfish obsession, and I became blind to my own sins committed in the wake of that pursuit. This is the temptation of the Grave Father. He led me down a destructive path, believing it was my own to choose. Lord of Whispers, I curse your name and I break our pact. My time may have come, but you'll not have my soul. I shall entrust my soul to another. I have little to bargain with but the key tablet, but remain determined that neither the Herald, his beast, nor the bog will claim me. The last entry in Brond journal reads, I hear the roar of the Herald steed above the temple. He came from the void beyond. His beastmen roam Mortholm as I write this. Important, they have taken everything from me. My council and I are the only ones left. I have little hope the ancestor gods will take me back after all I've done. I pray other gods will show me mercy. I pray the deal is accepted and I might yet work in death to repair the damage I have done in my life and find Yara. So, all the context clues of this point that he was deceived and tricked by Valdis, the first ever Lich, who wanted the egg and the crystal tablet to do some really fucked up shit. They needed a puppet king. They needed a Nogdor to be able to do something. They needed somebody for some plan, but that isn't really referred to what it is. He's seeking somebody else before he eventually redeems himself. He throws the egg away in a chasm. Eventually, Vadima finds it. And the only thing he has left is this crystal tablet. The crystal tablet is wanted by Crystal Dragonborn, right? Who have been trying to get into this place, but somehow they obtain the knowledge to create private sanctums that they cannot find. So that knowledge to hide away in crystal is out there. The man who hides in crystals, the man in the mirror, is referred to as the Herald. He has some powerful beast that he rides, and he seems to be subservient to Valdis. So that's very important. We figured out it was, I just forgot his name. The Bone Man, who has a temple here, has the crystal tablet. Because they did that...
Banzala.
Banzala! Thank you, yes,
There you go.
Banzala. It seems that the skull, the ornaments, all the flowers, everything that was done was a ritual to Banzala to offer him the crystal tablet to preserve their souls and stop the darkness of Valdis and his herald from taking them. And now that it seems they're repentant, he understands what he's done, now that the veil of tragedy has passed him, and he's trying to make that right in some sort of afterlife. And it seems successful, because every other dwarf was killed but that council chamber, which was mysteriously preserved. So Banzala took the tablet and took the deal, to at least some regard. So if they want, or if we want to get that tablet and go forward with a key in the tablet and the prophecy in our quest, we need to go to the necropolis or whatever it is, Banzala's place, and see him. So once we get out of the bog, it definitely seems we have to pass Banzala's bone zone.
This is Banzala's bone zone.
Or like Bonezala.
Damn, that's a lot. That's a lot of information.
Yes, it is.
Interesting. Well, I mean, we were kind of planning on heading there anyway. I guess what's one stop on the way there?
Screenshot that and post it in party chat.
I'm already working on it.
Okay.
What is like? Does anybody know about this Banzala? Like, what all is involved, or just like he's a god, right? It's not like you go up to a god and be like, give us the tablet. It just seems like it is not a very conducive method of exchange.
Well, maybe they got like a follower or somebody that represents. What was his name again?
Banzala.
Yeah, that one. To come get it. And it's not actually with the god, but with one of his flunkies.
Scanner.
Mm-hmm.
Since the Yard did study in the Shaman's Mantle, and before she came here, studied about a particular event that surrounded Valdis and the gods of Tanzia. What was the thing that she couldn't understand, if I remember?
Thing that you couldn't, thing that she couldn't understand. I think I'm having
Like-
trouble remembering that as well. Like what?
Like it was happening. It was a war to protect our homeland.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
that one.
What about it? Are you trying to recall?
Avatars. That's it.
Okay. Just considering all the stuff you already know, just roll me a religion check to see what else you might know.
Boy.
12. Yeah, you do recall in Tanzian religion, the Tanzian religion, the pantheon is referred to as the living gods. They are a series of powerful, almost sort of, well, they are like demigod spirits that inhabit the lands of Tanzia, and they typically work through chosen individuals called avatars. These are mortal individuals who've dedicated their lives to one particular god. There can only ever be one avatar of the gods at any one time. And typically they are fairly powerful individuals in their own right. Best you can tell, you have heard of an avatar of Banzala. Who that might be, you have no idea. But you have heard that they are active.
Okay, so the Yard sits there for a moment as the party is discussing this, and it hits her right. Avatars. They're called avatars. They are a chosen individual that the living God can communicate through. Who that might be, she does not know. But he is certain they are active. That's all she can give at the moment.
So I guess I was kind of right. So it gets a lot easier when it's just some avatar that we gotta look out for.
Not look. But I just need to ask: why is it like? It's more just like disgusting. We're not looking for a fight. We just.
Well, I never said I was looking for a fight. I'm saying keeping an eye out for someone is. Never mind. I think I'm still waking up. Carry on.
Right. I need to do sending anyway. Selma. Need to do some sending messages to Selma anyhow. About the
Refresh my memory. Is the whole undercover people in the wall common knowledge among the party, or is it something that was discovered and discussed before Valum rejoined?
Hold on.
I do not remember. When did we discuss, or when did we discover that? Oh no, it'd be before, because Dragon Lady told us before we found you out.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Why? I mean, good to check in, but why are you so eager to?
Oh, right. If the yard can remember correctly, still trying to wake. Okay. To call you, let us know that there might be some scouts, black dragonborns that's hiding within, posing as scouts within the wall.
How many?
We don't know.
Yeah, get a message to her as soon as you can. And check if Vladimir is okay, unless she can.
Right, I will. Think of how I'm going to word this. So,
Do you want my word counter? I have one for this occasion.
yes, please, because I cannot.
Dude, it is
do
so
this.
hard. I'm just gonna.
To be fair, you did roast a dragon so hard she got a vengeance boner against you.
I mean, I
Can you
kind of
also send
had
that
to
my way,
get the
please?
exact words right because you don't want to waste letters or don't want to waste words when you've only got so many. Want to make the most out of it. It's like a tweet. Got that character limit, but damned if you're gonna end up with one character limit. Do we want to continue onwards while Spice decides what he's gonna say and how many letters to say it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That'd be a bad idea.
Right. So, what does everyone want to discuss, if anything?
So we have to go into Taos and ask about where their god is, or like where the avatar of their god is, and we think this is going to be good. Like, do we wish to? Is this something that we wish to perhaps plan out? Like, not that, I'm all for being very upfront and candid, but they might take issue with like a potential threat against one of their deities, though it is the one of death and people tend not to like them.
Well, I thought we were gonna be aggressive with them, but kind of to at least think about it on the road.
I won't lie, I'm quite hesitant about this.
Why?
It's less about what we're trying to do, it's more about the approach we might take and hurdles that comes with it.
Okay, that's a fair point.
My main concern is this Bansala guy. Any kind of deity of death is tricky business.
I mean, there's definitely a respectful way to go about it. And then there's ways that get you in severe trouble.
I agree. That's why I'm hesitant. I would like to be cautious about this.
Well, I have a question. Who had that fancy skull?
Oh.
Oh, hold on. You mean I have Oh wait, you're talking about the one that was on the middle of the table. Okay,
Yeah,
never
that-
mind.
That would be me.
Which goal?
Eh,
Which goal do you have?
Don't worry about
He
it.
looks. I'm not
I
worried. I'm
love
curious.
that phrase. It has so many uses.
the jar pulls the skull out of her bag of holding. This one?
Yes. We could always just, recreate the pattern and what they did to summon him. So obviously they had to summon him and make a deal. We could just
Don't know
do
about-
that and, ask permission.
Might be worth checking with not the authorities, but the people who know what the hell they're doing. Just like people of their faith, to make sure we're not gonna get smoked or something.
Jenny,
Yes.
can I do a religion check to see if I would get smote?
You can make a religion check, sure.
Angus does a big think to see if he would get smote.
20. Banzala,
Manzala.
best that you can tell, or best that you've read, Banzala tends to be neither a malicious god nor a friendly one. He lies dead center within that, for lack of a term, alignment chart, if you will. He's known for being amicable with his own people, even cracking the odd joke here and there from various kind of first-hand encounters you read about people who have encountered him. But if you piss him off, there will be hell to pay. And in those instances, he's known for being very malicious. He also tends to favour bargains, deals, and tends to stick with his word. But he is known for bending the rules every so often.
Here's a paradox. He's okay when he's not, and he sticks to rules unless he doesn't feel like it.
Big think.
After all, can't get something for nothing.
That's fucking fair. God damn it.
But I wanted something for nothing.
But I want it. So of course all this information is conveyed.
Right.
Makes me think if we're polite, if we summon him properly, or at least, pray to him, you know what I mean? If we go through things correctly and appease to his nature and wanting of a deal, there is no reason I see for him to smite us.
Let's maybe wait until we're out of the motorboat before we go trying anything.
Well, actually, no. If we were to do something, we should do it here. From what I recall, he has a place called the Other Side, as he leans in a little bit. Some believe it's a little pocket within the Blacklands, and this is a place where it's finished to the Blacklands to get to his pocket of the Other Side. So we would actually be most successful. He would have to work the least hardest to answer us here. As he kind of like hands up, gestures, looks back and forth.
That makes sense.
I hate
How-
that you're making the most sense and with the best argument for this.
Where did
Would you rather cross the country or just cross the road to get to where you're being asked to go? You know?
Where did you hear about this little special place? Like he has a special place in the Blacklands?
That's what I've heard, or at least what some of the priests have said.
I mean, and
The very sort of unknown and taboo thing. All that's known as the Blacklands tend to be a place for bad souls. Except for this one. For some reason, he's not cruel and evil, but he's also not this kind, caring person. He just ferries them away to wherever he draws power from. And it's supposed to be this, like, it's kind of like your magic bag. It's just some pocket somewhere out in space. That's supposed to be in some space out past the filament. He kind of has one of those for souls, and he just takes you there instead of, in my case, you know, going to the peaks. No Yzmar for you. Or, in this case, no terrible, deathly, soul-eating sacrifice deal for Braun and Voldis.
Not much like the sound of it, but you do make a point about it.
I mean,
This would be the ideal place to try and summon him with the least amount of effort.
what do we have to lose? Literally.
Well,
I mean,
we have seen what happened in the council room, so
Well, that was successful.
did you say that? So you said he's not like malicious or like malevolent, but he's also not like friendly or benevolent?
He just sorta is.
Okay. He
No, he likes deals. Sometimes he bends them a little bit to have fun, or to make them interesting, you know?
Sounds like a trickster.
no, not so much a trickster, but I think he more values the art of making a deal and sticking to it, but wants to make it interesting.
Okay. Yeah, that
That's at
makes
least
sense.
what I'm getting from it.
I think trickery could be something to describe him, actually.
Might be.
So, okay.
So again, I just out of curiosity, because I'm not really god kind of person. That's more your place. But so we're going to reach out, like we're essentially coming on his front door, and we're going to knock on it, and then just invite ourselves in.
Not so much as we are across the street from his house, and we invite him to come over for lunch. It's not that we are going into his place as much as we are very much near it, inviting him to come over. Like, a merchant from across the way in a town beckoning you over to come look at his wares and make a deal. If you got a pocket full of coin and you see that green metal, you might want to make a deal. You know? All we need is... you'll look for the green metal adamantine. That'd probably call you over, but we just need to know what would make him want to answer. It might just even be the thought of making a deal.
So you don't think anything
That or
bad will
probably a
happen for
soul.
doing it here?
I don't think anything bad will happen for doing it here. If anything, from doing it here seems to counter bad things. Because, I mean, it worked and those doors in the council chamber weren't, dead. Well, they were dead. They were not undead. It was perfectly protected,
And what did you say about losing a soul?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
And what did you say about losing a soul?
Losing a soul? Okay, the dwarf in there, he was gonna lose his soul to the big bad evil necromancer guy called Voltis. Like the first lich ever. Bad man. He was gonna lose his soul to him and the man in the mirror. Instead, he traded the tablet for protection for him and his council. So it's strong enough to say F you to the most powerful necromancer person, first lich ever. He has that much strength to say, not gonna happen. To even defy the natural powers of the bog. So he's quite potent. And if we don't do anything to upset him, I don't think it'll be a problem. In fact, it might be better to call him in and be respectful in that regard and go through the practices so that way if something happens later on he'd at least know about us because we've paid respect, we've paid some sort of due, right? Only thing I can think of. He might even like us, eh? Or at least have some positive view because we got rid of Mortifax, which was taking away souls and doing some undead stuff, which reduces the amount of people he could ferry away and have a stronger following in the afterlife.
Wait, so does he ferry away everybody's souls then?
No?
Then I don't understand how that would stop him. I'm sorry, I'm just confused about this. Like, how would Mortithax stop him from taking souls if would he have been able to take those souls in the first place? Because I don't know about you, but I haven't heard about this Banzala in Ragnarok or in Morkney or in the Silver Kingdoms. So
the only reason I know why is because this is supposed to be like a living god, they call it, worshipped mostly by humans in Tanzia, in this place we're about to enter. It's a neighboring country, so I tried to learn a little bit about their faith, and they have a city built to what is a quote-unquote living god, so I thought I'd brush up on it a little bit in case, something bad happened and war clerics from them came over here and, well, over to Silver King. You know what I mean.
yeah,
National.
that's what they were saying, though. I think what happened in the room was just a one-off, and because they were offering a good deal, he took it. I don't think, we might not even be in his area. You're saying, we're super close, but they had to go through all that hubbub just to get him in there with, a huge, bargaining chip. And I don't know. I mean, if you want to do it, that is fine. I don't know how it will help. I can move things that are heavy.
Well, I mean, that's actually quite useful. My thought is, right, I can't fully recall the map. I bet, Grunka, I bet you can. I think his city, a necropolis, they call it, is on the way to Tactahos, the place we're going. It's on the way. And if anybody knows where this crystal tablet is, it's probably him. If we talk to him now and say, hey buddy, I want to make a deal, I want information or the tablet itself, what can I get or do for you on the way? Perhaps he can say, go do this thing, and then when you come to my temple, bam, boom, easy deal done. And that way it's just, you know what you need from the store in the market before you go to the store in the market, so it's easy shopping, right? Same thing, we're just making a shopping list of what he wants for the deal to work.
I mean, sure, fine. Do you
If
know
we
how
are
the
to
ritual
make-
happened?
I mean, how do you feel about that?
I would be
mean-
hesitant.
It's like, I've tried to avoid doing anything in this place, but that is just me.
We can do it outside if you want. I'm just thinking it might be easier because this place is a lot closer to where he's supposed to be. And it's not like we're animating dead, it's just prayer.
I mean, no, it's just, I usually associate doing things with gods in places where people actually worship those gods. Like, we don't want to be in, like, where Sal's, like, continent and suddenly start trying to summon, you know, Nogdor or something like that.
I mean, fair. I can see that.
And if you want,
I just thought this would be
if you want
closer.
to, like, we can, like, can I be, like, on the very outskirts of the ritual in case anything were to go wrong?
Sure, if that's what you want. That's okay. If you aren't comfortable doing it, we can. It's just... You can sort of think of it like... If my understanding's correct, I'm thinking again, like... He's in his house, and if we're in the Moorbog, we're across the street. Right? Because it's so fucky with the Blacklands. But if we're outside of the Moorbog, in this haze, right? Instead... We're way down the street. It's like, how close are we to him and his domain? This is a lot closer. It might be easier to get him here than if we're not in here.
So you're saying you want to do business at his home instead of where he normally does business. I got you. Yeah, sure, let's do it.
Increasing your chances. Got it.
I do have one reservation about this entire deal making.
Sure.
You said he likes to make deals.
Yes.
Now, I do think we should consider before we start anything what we're asking for and what he might want in return, because, well, it is not exactly a small favor.
I understand. That's why I'm sort of thinking, you know, we can figure out what he wants now and see if it's feasible, prepare, or we wait for it till we, I don't know, we're right in front of him or in one of his temple with all of his clerics, and maybe we don't have the option to say, I can't do that, because there's some sort of tremendous pressure, you know. So it's just a difficulty, right? If he would want anything, my guess, if he's a god of death or whatever, is to probably stop something disrupting his power from growing, or maybe go get some powerful soul or something. I mean, we can figure it out.
What powerful soul do you have to give him?
It might be one that got away by some technicality of a deal, or straight up just didn't do what that was asked. I don't know.
I do agree
I mean,
that knowing what the hell we need to be bringing to the table is always a good idea.
So it might be, you know, worthwhile seeing now when we're not in a temple of his, just seeing what he would want, test the waters of a deal and see if that would work. And if it doesn't, you know, perhaps we'll have to find some other way to work with the crystal tablet or find out. But he seems like the only lead we have, so I don't know what choice we have here.
I mean,
You know?
will it change if we do it on the other side of the wall in his actual country of worship? We're still very close to the Morbog.
Well, we would not be in the Morbog.
I mean, we can be inside the gates if you want to, Sal.
No, that's not what I'm referring to.
That's what I am referring to. Like, it's what's the difference from this physical place versus being like 100 yards inside the gates or like in his country. I don't know. This all just seems a bit weird to me. Like, we just now heard about this guy and we're trying to contact a god. But if you want to, like, if the group says, then that is fine.
It is a little weird. I will be honest with you, yes. It's a little strange. It is the only lead we have for this tablet that's supposed to be really important for Fatima's egg. It seems whatever we need the pair of them. If we have no more clues other than this guy for the tablet. It was supposed to be here. It's not. He does not have it. The dwarf does not have it. The dwarf sold the tablet to protect his soul to this god, this guy. Now we have to talk to him to figure it out. I'm wanting to do it here. Again, same analogy, right? It's like a food cart across the way from your training camp. Are you gonna go to the one that's right across the way? Or the one that's at the end of the fucking road? You and your men are hungry, you're gonna go to the food cart right there. It's easier to get there, to get to that cart. It's just easier to get there.
I think you're using
than if you're outside.
I think you're using this metaphor backwards. We're the food cart. They're
Yes.
me. So you want to go to where they work and where they actually want to meet us, as opposed to a food cart being set up outside my house.
Okay, but it could. It could. We
feel
could
like
go there. We could
talk
walk.
in circles here, and
Yeah, we
I'll
are.
be honest.
We
I
are.
would
Let's
rather
put it
talk.
to a vote. Who wants to contact Banzala? Raise your hand.
The guy after finishing sending the messages raises her hand.
So that's one.
Zhao slowly raises her hand, but keeps it at sort of a halfway point.
One
I
and a
am-
half.
I want to say it might be our best chance, but I also want to make sure we do it safely, or at least as safe as we can.
Vellum.
I'd rather talk to an expert on the faith before I go canoodling with rituals.
Okay, one and a half either way. Dunks.
Yeah.
Is that you wish to contact or you do not?
Yeah, sure.
That still does not answer my question. Do you not want to contact Banzala?
I mean, it sounds like a pretty good idea.
Okay, so you wish to contact Banzala. Okay. So we have 2.5, 4. I know Angus wants to contact, so that is... Is there anybody that we left out aside from myself? Okay. Like, that is, I think, enough. Actually, no, because... but then we have the deciding vote. So, I wish to wait also. Angus wishes to contact now, so we're split down the middle. Why do we have an even party?
You know what? Pause. I am fine to wait. If you aren't comfortable in talking to the edge of it, if you aren't comfortable, if you're worried, I would rather have your trust than the immediate communication. How about we ask some of the people around camp, see if they know anything and can point us towards somebody on the other side, and we can do this in a way that everybody feels most comfortable. How about that?
It's true. You know, I also got a bunch of books. Like, there might be something that's like about it in here, but... And she pulls out Scourge in the Shadow, Planar Travels of a Shun Visionarian, Sakar the Untold Story. and just like there might be something of that in there. Like, here, have that. But I do think that we all want to contact him. It's just, I guess it's a matter.
It's a matter
of
of where, and I respect that.
I still think that we will be able to, and I still think
Sure.
we have a long time or before we actually get to him in order to, gather whatever we may need for the exchange.
That's
So,
fine.
yeah.
If that's okay. If we'll just get a little information on him, and if nothing else, we'll make the quote unquote deal of at least talking with him. We'll have something interesting that we can offer to him to even see about a greater deal, and that will increase our odds in his favor. That's my guess. We'll double check with some faith, and we'll do it in a place that might be perhaps more symbolic. The only thing is, there's supposedly something about living gods. I've heard about these rumors and things, that they can, if it's a temple, if it's a strong place of faith, they can actually just be there. Like, it's not a disembodied spirit, it's not an echoing voice, it's the god, the thing that is there. If we have it in, like, a little place that we summon that's not super powerful to him, we can talk maybe, but we're not inviting an actual god into the room, right? If we do it in a temple and everything, it's inviting an actual god into the room, and if something goes wrong, there's an actual god in the fucking room.
Well, he seems to be, you were saying yourself, he's like just kind of a neutral guy. But also, I don't
Yes.
think anyone, like, the initial contact would be happening not in a temple. It'd be like just when we get to the wall. So we don't have to worry about that. But, I mean, if you want to go to a temple to do the final bargain,
I don't
Like, is
know
that-
if that's something that the priest that we ask will suggest, what have you. I don't mind either way. I just want everyone to be as informed on the fact that it seems like he can actually fully manifest in places of religious importance.
can
like
the dwarven gods
actual-
do that?
Spiritually, but not physically, because they're not living gods.
Gotcha.
This is a actual. It's kind of like using a teleport spell, but he can do it to places like churches and shite. Right? He just
Hold on.
there.
Hold on one second. Remember that the symbols on the table? What did those represent, Angus?
The lunar cycle. It was the different stages of waxing, waning, full or eclipsed moon.
Okay, the card slips through a book of notes for a second. Ah, right. So that would be his moments of manifestation. Then would be the eclipse. The eclipses. I think I'm saying this right. Sorry, tongue is weird.
What do you mean moments of manifestation?
That's now. Today's what?
I don't know.
Isn't today? Is it today? Shite, hold on. No, it's almost.
So what did you mean by whatever manifestation? Is that what Angus is talking about? Like they come into the world?
Yes.
Okay.
Every living god has a event of manifestation. With Banzala, it's solar and lunar eclipses.
The gateway point.
Basically, yes.
When is the next one? I also don't know how to pull up the calendar again.
You go
neither.
to
That's why I'm on the world end.
you go to token controls. Top left, you'll see SC with the
Simple calendar.
Yeah, a blue
okay.
SC. There you go, simple calendar.
So we're getting really close to it, actually.
No, you're
Either
thinking about
20
like new moons. When's the actual solar eclipse, Jenner?
20.
Let's see, Dujar. You're well, Dujar and Sayan, you're both fairly intelligent individuals, so you'll be able to suss this out. The next, let's see, the next solar eclipse.
Solar or lunar? Like, what's the next eclipse?
Yeah, the next eclipse would be late Diezmus.
That would be in 2 months' time.
Wait. So what is? I'm looking at this. What is old and full moon mean on your calendar?
Old, I think old. Let's see, old moon. I think that's just like.
I think if both are dark on the 28th. There's a
Yeah, old moon and new moons aren't solar or lunar eclipses.
are or are not.
Are not.
And what are the eclipses?
I didn't set any specific date on the calendar. For good reason.
Okay, because you have the moon cycles on the calendar.
Yeah, for waxing, waning, new and old moons, not eclipses.
Oh, so those are special events. Got it.
Consider them narrative events.
Okay, never mind.
Time, by the way.
Yep.
How'd that message go, John?
So, you sent the message. What? Just real quick here. What exactly did you send, Selma? I know you DM'd it to me, but I'd like everyone else to.
Let me read it off. Alright. First one. There are pretenders amongst your ranks from Morlosax's warriors. They are hiding through magical disguises and pendants against scrying. Also protect Volume Up, please.
So,
and thanks.
First response to that comes through. Mainly a confused tone. You hear Selma respond with, Mortithax has warriors. This is the first time hearing of it. I will begin searches throughout the walls.
Hey, it'll be a quick. The second message will be quickly followed up after the first response. Might be worth to have casters use dispel magic and do it discreetly. Also, rescued all the scouts from Morlosax's dungeons.
The response comes through again. I'll see what I can do. Also, thank you. Return them as soon as possible. You notice that the tone is you sense concern, alarm, and worry in the tone of her voice.
Well, that's all I could do. Better have her on edge than caught unaware. Ooh. And afterwards, the Yar would tell the group of the response, almost verbatim of what you got from Selma. After the discussion is died down a bit.
But it is
Alright.
good.
So, as the day dawns upon you, everyone. Ow, my ears.
Sorry. Oh God, sorry. I thought I muted myself, but I unmuted myself to sneeze. I'm sorry.
So,
Your courtesy be failed.
so as the awkward silence is broken by Vellum sneezing,
Sorry.
we will, as you all finish off your morning meals and get ready to set off once more, we will end the session there with the prospective plans to maybe contact Banzala and sort of inquire upon the scouts along the way, but we will wait until next session to do that.
Of course.
So, I'm going to stop recording. 3, 2, 1.